Hello everyone, welcome along to Thursday night here at the MODUS Super Series, which means it's the beginning of Group B. And to look ahead to the action and review what happened earlier on today, we're in the very capable hands of Mrs. Edgar and Mason and Chats. Let's talk about this afternoon. And Matt, an afternoon session dominated by Josh Payne.
Absolutely. It was sort of a one-runner field, really, wasn't it? The bookie suggested that at the very start of the week, and Josh certainly turned up and produced that. He did have that defeat, but if you're going to lose 98 average, there's not a lot more you can do about that. Tricol did play really well in that game, but Josh, top of the league, rightly so, and I expect him to carry on with that tomorrow and top that group.
I mentioned on the main programme earlier on this afternoon to Matt that Josh Payne managed to win in different styles. Does that feel the same for you?
Yeah, I mean, he was Josh the Rock this morning and this afternoon. Didn't let too much bother him. And if the rest of the field think that's the best of Josh, they're in for a bit of a surprise tomorrow, because we've certainly seen him play a lot better here at the Super Series. But when he was asked the questions, more often than not he had the answer, excluding the match that Matt mentioned against Tricol, who averaged 101. So sometimes you just got to put your hands up and say, fair play.
Do you think for the rest of the field, Matt, we were left with more questions than there were answers?
Yeah, it's a phrase I use quite a lot, that one, and we didn't really see anybody find consistency, which in that group is what you need. There's only two places available in there. You need legs on the board as well as points, and that's what we're going to probably see tomorrow. I think it's going to come down to legs, and you'll probably see maybe two players on about the same points. And
that was probably best described by Thibaut Tricol. There was one game where he hit 5 maximums and less than 10% on the doubles.
Yeah, it was the only game Dave Prinz won. It was a strange game. I mean, the tons scored in that match were ridiculous, but he just couldn't find a double for love nor money. And well, I mean, me and Matt think Dave's out of the... I mean, mathematically, other results would have to go his way, but I don't think he can pick up one of the two qualifying spots tomorrow. I think Franz is right under it. I think Tricol is still in with a chance. And obviously, it's all about Josh Payne tomorrow, and he can inflict some heavy results on people that could affect who eventually picks up that second spot. So all to play for. Really exciting.
Does the table look as if perhaps it might be a 1 from 4 scenario to get second spot?
Yeah, and like we said, we feel Dave's out of this, but so do the bookies as well. And Dave's been written off here, and at the start of the show we said that Dave Prinz and Josh Payne could be the two that go through. He has quality in the locker, and you say about Josh could inflict some big defeats. Dave Prinz could completely wipe this group out and make it a little bit even more unpredictable. I don't think Dave can go through himself, but he can certainly spoil it for other people that spoil it for him as well.
Yeah, he could become a Davy Proston in Group A and just become that spoiler who picks off some results, because we know Dave Prinz can play a lot better. I mean, this morning me and Matt were pretty much suggesting, as were the odds compilers, that it's down to Dave and Josh to go through in this group, and one's done his job, the other one just didn't settle, and that's unusual. You know, he's played in 6 World Championships, recently made the quarters of the World Seniors, a really, really experienced player. But even he found it a new environment and didn't quite get used to it.
And just finally, Matt, let's talk about Group B this evening. We've got the likes of Scott Baker dropping out of Group A. And then we've got some interesting additions in the field. Mike Warburton, Mike Gillet and Niall Culleton adding to the fray.
I'm glad you didn't ask me who was going to win it. I was worried you was going to team me up.
That was the next question, by the way.
Throw you straight under the bus.
Oh, yeah, that would be splinters on that one. This is a fantastic group. There is literally nothing that separates these. I have looked through every stat and every bit of data, and I've dug as far as I can, and I can't find anything to find a winner. Certainly, even predicting the 3 players that could get through this group, take your pick.
It should be good fun to watch. Me and Chris Mason are going to be up on that balcony in about roughly 5 minutes' time to preview all the action for Group B, as well as 10 cracking live matches for you on the MODUS Super Series channel and on Sporty Stuff TV. I hope you can join us then. Good evening and welcome to the live lounge here in Portsmouth for the Thursday evening session here at the MODUS Super Series, which means Group B will be getting underway this evening, and we're in the very capable hands of Chris Mason up here on the gantry to look ahead to it all. And Chris, a really interesting group, and we were looking at it earlier on, a tight group as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's got a slightly different dynamic to the other groups, but certainly one I'm looking forward to.
Well, let's round up what happened earlier on this week, because Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday saw Group A in action, and it was won by the German Lukas Wenig on his debut, and he was mightily impressive, wasn't he, throughout?
Yeah, very, very impressive. Really enjoyed the way he plays the game. I've seen a fair bit of him on the Euro Tour as well, so he's got a bit of experience coming into this. There's certainly players with a little bit more experience than him, but he was tipped up early on and he handled the pressure well, eventually only dropping 3 matches, winning 12 of the 15. Scott Baker and Gavin Carlin into tonight's Group B, and then Franz, Thibaut and Davy into this morning's Group C. But yeah, I'm impressed with Lukas. There's lots to like about him. I don't think he's anywhere near the finished article. And the evolution of his play, and it's just what German, well, it's just what we need is a player from another territory, you know, that could possibly hit the top.
We saw this 150 check, and I just wonder, even though there's not a crowd in until Saturday night, how much the recent Euro Tour experience helped him on that stage format this week?
Yeah, he doesn't appear to be a player that is affected. You sometimes, when I look at the numbers, sort of someone like Gabriel Clemens, some of the numbers he's punched in on that on the Pro Tour, which obviously is behind closed doors, are frightening. He's just not been able to replicate it. Max Hopp, you know, when he was playing very, very well, seemed to sort of encourage the crowd's participation and enjoyed it, relished that opportunity. I think Lukas is very similar. He's a big lad, and he's obviously very, very confident. And he could be certainly one I'm looking out for, and I'm going to follow his career closely.
So Lukas Wenig will be here on Saturday night by winning Group A. Early on today, we saw Group C begin, and it was all about Josh Payne, who was absolutely excellent, Mace. I mean, the one game he lost, he had a 98 average. Yeah,
Thibaut Chacrol punching in a 101 in that match, and he was solid as a rock pretty much all day. Nowhere near his best. We've seen flashes of it. This was a key finish to go 3-2 up with a breaker throw. He went on to win that one. Just dropped the one game, and as you said, in that one he averaged 98. Didn't do a lot wrong. Plenty in the locker, and backed up his favouritism, unlike Dave Prinz, who finds himself at the wrong end of the table.
And interesting, in the middle part of that table, do you think maybe we're in a scenario where it's 1 from 4 that get through that second spot?
Yeah, absolutely. Franz is right under it. He's on 4 points, as is Haggerty. Davy Proston, which we suggested would bounce back well, and has done so. He picked up 3 wins today, as did Thibaut Chacrol. Yeah, it's literally is Dave Prinz is mathematically he can do it, but he'd have to have some strange results happen above him. So for me, Josh Payne will go on to win the group, and then it's down to Thibaut, Davy, Franz, or Haggerty.
Indeed, and tonight we kick off Group B, and we kick it off with 2 players we've already seen this week in Group A, as Gavin Carlin takes on Scott Baker. Gavin coming through, obviously, as we say, from Group A. Do you think at times maybe it was a bit of consistency, which is why he's in Group B as opposed to winning the group? Yeah,
I think so. I think we've seen some bits from him which he'll be happy with. He's coming from a bit of a run of poor form. He was the first one to admit that, but this is often the right kind of springboard to find that form back and get a bit of confidence. But we know from Scott Baker he's super quick, and when he starts to hit that 60 with regularity, super tough to beat.
Yeah, let's have a look at Scott in a bit more detail. Played really well on Monday, perhaps didn't get the points that he should have got. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, he backed up the performances with points. Yeah,
he lost a few matches that ultimately cost him winning the group. And they were sort of games he reversed the fortunes in later on. He got edged out a couple of times, 4-3 in matches that he should have won. And ultimately, they were costly. But you know, he's a player that plays on his confidence. He's nice and quick, easy on the eye. It's lots of 180s, which we all enjoy seeing. It's a tough opening game for both, but just about edged towards Baker.
And just finally, what about the players that joined the group, the 2 Mikes and Niall Culleton? We haven't seen here for a while.
Yeah, big fan of Niall Culleton. He's the big Irish Viking, great player, has produced some great stuff in our old venue down in Southampton. Big fan of Warby, got one of the best throws on the circuit, and it's And Mike Gillet, we pretty much know what we're going to get. I hope he starts off throwing a little bit quicker, because for me, as the night goes on and there's more tempo and fluidity in his throw, that's when we see the best of him.
Well, we are looking forward to 10 fantastic matches here on Thursday night at the MODUS Super Series. Chris Mason is going to make that race down to the commentary. I was going to say, get the steps in. Have you done the workout today?
No workout for this week at all. Yeah, just off of it for a week. Got darts to think about, so don't want to pick up any injuries, but still getting my steps in. It's about 5,000 a day.
And we're going to see him week 12, but we're going to focus on Group B in week 10. Chris is going to make his way down to the commentary box to join first. A very good evening to Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Henry, and good evening. Welcome to Group B. This is the group where we'll have 5 players, 3 new players joining us. We're going to kick things off with 2 players we've seen in Group A. This is Scott Baker, 36-year-old, taking on the 37-year-old Gavin Carlin. And they mentioned at the start of the show there's not much to split between these two, and there really isn't on what we've seen from them already this week. Scott Baker on the head-to-head stats has got a 2-1 advantage over
Gavin to throw first.
Gavin this week. Gavin taking the first victory over Scott with a 4-3 victory. And then Baker retaliating with a 4-2 and a 4-0 victory. Pace of the game will probably suit both of these players. I expect this to be a quick-paced match. And that sort of suits Scott as well. Scott probably the fastest player, the fastest thrower.
100.
All 5 of these. And when you play against a pacier player and you're a quick thrower yourself, you tend to find your best.
140.
Scott's found his best against Gavin this week. A 96.58, a 97.86 and a 96.97.
180.
They're going to find the best, and both players are 180 in the opening leg.
165.
Moments ago, these two could produce some big scores. I didn't expect it this early.
140.
Picked up early on in the week. Gavin Carlin loves double 8, and he could see this off for a 10-darter.
One for the highlight reel. Well, it's going to be a case of knit one, purl one to get one in there. Knitting needles.
No score. Scott, you require 81.
Gavin is building his own highlight reel this week. He's the viral video where he nearly pinned Franz to the board.
69.
Annoy Baker.
Gavin, you require 16.
Make the perfect start. And break through. Beginning of the week, the double 8 was his friend. You found a
game shot the first leg.
You on the
Gavin
double
Carlin.
8, but ultimately Carlin gets it done. 15 dart hold.
Second leg is Scott to throw first.
Fast and furious start, really, and trying to pick a winner out of this is tough, but trying to pick a winner out of this group is almost impossible. Got the
140.
odds here. The bookie's going 9-4 on Mike Warburton, 3-1 Baker, 100-30 Gillet, 7-2 Carlin.
140.
Literally nothing between 4 of the 5 runners.
What were the odds on this one before the off?
4 to 5,
Yeah.
10-11.
Yeah, we had it down as
45.
a bit of a coin flip. Just slightly edging towards Baker for me, but
60.
not with any great confidence. Only the fact that he's had a few wins over Gavin.
100.
I don't think there's anything really to separate all the
161.
players within the group. So we look at the win rate of their overall stats. It ranges from 53 to 56%. Look at the checkout stats. They range from 34 to 36%. The average range is 86 to 88. There's nothing between these players.
Well, there are 3 meetings here and there are 3 meetings away from the Super Series.
36.
Add up to 6,
Got your
and it's
required
3-3.
24.
Like you say, that the numbers are marginal. Yeah, doing the right thing.
20.
Well, you can hit it, you just can't finish it.
60. Scott, you require 4. Game shot on the second leg.
Gets a double
Scott
this
Baker.
time. He's now 1 from 5. Holds
Third
throw.
against Gavin to throw first.
Just love these sort of games when you get two pacey players going at it, throwing good darts. Pure entertainment,
134.
isn't it?
So easy on the eye, isn't it?
Just took over 3 minutes to register 2 legs of darts.
100.
One of the best games I remember watching like that with two real pacey throwers, Michael Van Gerwen and Gary Anderson, Dubai in the final. Outside, both players averaging 110. It was something to behold. Don't go and watch that now. but if you still need your darts fix after about 1 o'clock, go and watch that one.
You know what, I wrote
59.
in red pen.
Oof,
I wrote in red.
you rebel.
I expect 180s tonight because the players range between 0.15 and 0.20 180s per leg, which means every sort of 5 legs, 6
One
legs,
a
we
match.
should expect a 180.
Yep.
We've had 3 already. That's what the red pen does. When the red pen comes out, you're about to see something happen.
I'll get you to write something in red pen on the back of my hand on week 12.
Gavin, you requires 65.
Nothing offensive either. 58 left. So the back-to-back 15 darters on throw, which equates to 100 average.
25.
Oh dear. Now
Scott, you
again,
require
Baker
40.
with the opportunity to break. Should have won, or could have won
30.
leg 1, and
Gavin, you
could have,
require 40.
and maybe should have won leg 2. Tops for Gavin. Real unusual dart, isn't it?
Game
Certainly
shot
doesn't
the
look
third
like it
leg.
lacks grip. but
Gavin Carlin.
Sort of feel that Scott Baker here, 1 from 8.
Fourth leg, it's Scott to throw
averaging
first.
103.
Real good power scoring, just 3 legs in. He's filling up
97.
those columns. But as I say, he could be 3-0 up here. That's sort of your red pen moment.
Yep, 3-0 up and in absolute control.
140.
At the moment, he's battling to stay in it. This is a real good version of Gavin Carlin was seeing. He threatened it, didn't he,
35.
across certain parts of Group A.
He is an ex-PDC tour card
84.
holder.
Yeah, won his tour card in 2019, didn't he? Held it for 2 years, found it tough going, had a bit of a drop in form, which can happen.
55.
But across Group A, his running average 85.47, a high of 98.62, hit 15
57.
180s in 15 games, which backs up your red pen.
140.
Don't like things in red pen.
Scott Baker averaged 88.08 for the entirety of Group A, winning 9 of his 15. He hit 14
140.
180s.
$98.
This
Gavin,
is
you
quality.
require
What a way
80.
to start the night. Should get a dart here to get a break. Survived. Break darts against him. He's now going to get one of his own.
Well, Gavin on Monday pinched the
40.
win against Baker.
Scott,
It was one of
requires
those that I mentioned
76.
to Henry that Baker should have won if it wasn't for a couple of missed doubles. But he got revenge on Tuesday and Wednesday, did
56.
Baker, winning 4-2 on Tuesday and 4-0 on Wednesday.
Gavin, you require
With a
40.
96.97. On Tuesday, he had a 97.86, which is case in point what you brought up in regards to two players of a similar rhythm and tempo. They suit each other.
20.
They'll actually enjoy playing each other.
You can see that in the increased stats.
Scott, you require 20.
Just getting a bit concerned there for Scotty Baker. Gets stuck by the ball. Get out the way. Gavin Carlin's
Game
around.
shot on the fourth leg.
But he levels
Scott
it up.
Baker.
It's this game. I think either player will probably be feeling like they could have had this wrapped up already.
Fifth leg, it's Gavin to throw
Certainly.
first. Game on.
Baker will feel like he should be in front. That's some rather pleasant reading, as is that some pleasant viewing.
180.
That's a third 180, all coming with throw. Makes it rather difficult to break.
140.
And and yet he's still had the opportunities. 6 140s there for Scott Baker, 5 in the ton. Hang on a minute.
140.
Played young Brandon Weaning last night, and he hit the ball going for the ball to get the honour. Started with a 180 in leg
60.
1, started with a 180 in leg 2, only started with a 140 in leg 3, and I just sort of looked at him and said, oh, no 180. He hit one in the next throw.
90.
I wonder he beat Whitlock in the final.
100. Gavin, you require 91.
This is another fabulous leg from Gavin. Treble 18 for double 10 is his preference.
51.
That leaves his desired tops after 12. Nothing Baker can do apart from apply a bit of pressure. And Carlin has missed 12 darts at doubles in this match
139.
already.
Gavin, you require 40.
I think I'd have liked the 25 or ball play with that last
Game shot on
dart.
the 5th leg.
Doesn't really matter
Gavin
though.
Carlin.
Gavin Carlin tightens up his finishing. He's running about the 90 average, despite the fact that he's 3 from 15 on the doubles.
Well,
Six-legged
he's
Scott to
averaging
throw first.
98 on throw.
And yet still Scott Baker's managed to give himself plenty of
41.
darts to get that breaker throw. Just shows what a quality affair this is.
14 scores of a ton or more for Baker.
81.
11 for Carlin. Back in.
140.
That was very much needed after the opening gambit of 41.
57.
Sort of game that you feel deserves to go all the way.
60.
If Scott Baker can't see this leg through, it will be game over and Gavin Carlin will be taking the 2 points.
100.
Just keeping the pressure applied on Baker. He cannot afford a slip.
45.
There it is. Although Carlin has to be a bit careful. Straight ton's no good.
Treble three's no good in that
86.
situation either. So despite the deficit in the scoreline, still advantage to Baker. Send us all the way.
137.
Level it up at 3 apiece. 178.
60. Scott, you're requiring 78.
Start on the 18s. Double 12.
Game shot on the 6th
Nice,
leg.
crisp,
Scott
clean
Baker.
finish from Scott Baker. He does send us all the way, but this is the point where Gavin Carlin's
7
been
from
finding
final
the
against
max,
Gavin
and
to throw first.
Scott
Game
Baker will be
on.
hoping he doesn't hear the tonsils of Owen.
Well, this one going all the way. It's only 11 minutes old, the match.
45.
95 average for Baker. 87, well, after that, opening 45 down to
100.
86.41.
4 180s in the match.
Well, Baker's missed 9 at a double and he's still averaging mid-90s.
60. $140.
You talk about pressure. That is applying it. He's forcing Gavin now to hit 2 trebles and then still be a handful of darts behind. Baker has just made a major
134.
march.
Although that was beautiful cover shooting. Carlin picking off the 2 treble 19s.
55.
That was just enough. He appeared to have some breathing space, but the 1-3-4 has got him right back in the mix. 18s is a shot here. Well, if that's a blocker, he can go back to the treble 20. 98 leaves 164.
98.
Picks that off.
This is the biggest 3 darts in the match so far.
You
60.
can see him just trying to
Gavin, you require
almost float them in there.
164.
Sort of just Gavin will feel he's got 6.
Yeah.
That's why that was such a big shot. Just 100 would have just
124.
pressurised the shot, and Gavin picks it off
146.
lovely, leaves himself tops.
Stunning setup shot, wasn't it? Tops after 15 on throw, forcing Baker
90.
to go out in
Gavin,
15
you
or less to
require
win the match.
40.
This is a very tidy start from Gavin Carlin, and That is a great guide.
Game shot on the
And
match.
finds it with
Gavin
his
Carlin.
final dart, and almost a nod of fair play from Baker. Well, it was Baker with the higher average, 94.4, 87.05 for Carlin, but it's Carlin who picks up the spoils in match number 1. Up next, it's Warby against Mike Gillet.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we've seen our first game in Group B, and it's gone the way of Gavin Carlin, a 4-3 victor over Scott Baker. These are the match stats from that game. Carlin hitting 3 maximums. Baker with a higher average, though, of 94.4, but was on the wrong end of the scoreline. So Carlin takes the top honours in our first game. Next up, well, it's late in the evening, so we've got to listen and watch the two mics, haven't we? Warburton up against Gillet is game 2 of our evening. Early on this evening, I caught up with Warby to talk us through his hopes, his aspirations and his aims over the next couple of days. Mike, welcome to the Super Series. You've just seen the stage there. What do you make of it?
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, I was one of the ones from day one, so I was in my living room. But how many years ago? 3 years ago, was it? So it had my Mrs.'s wallpaper on in the background, and from that to this, it's unbelievable. It's one of the biggest positives from the pandemic, because I don't think we'd be here if we didn't have a pandemic. So yeah, it's brilliant.
Are you amazed by the transformation of this product? As you say, literally in living rooms, relying on internet connections. Then we go to the studio in Southampton, which did a brilliant job, and now this is the real McCoy.
Oh, definitely, mate. That's where you want to be. Any semi-pro, amateur, whatever you want to call it, dart player, like myself, this is where you want to be. You know what I mean? There's no better stage than that. Anywhere you want to go in amateur darts, this is where you want to be.
It's your second go at this particular phase, so is there added bit of pressure on you?
Maybe, could say that. Well, I love it though. I love the pressure. I narrowly missed out. I felt when I lost to Chaz in the final, I felt I missed chances, and I walked away with a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. But I won't be walking away with that bitter taste this week. I'm going to take it this week.
Does having a crowd in on the Saturday night final add an extra incentive for the players if ever there was one needed?
Yes and no. It's what happens on the board, not what goes on behind you. Obviously, it's nice to have a crowd when they're shouting for you, of course. But yeah, everyone here wants to reach that Saturday night. That's what it's all about. That's what we're here for. We want to win it. Everyone in that practice room wants to win that £5,000 and the chance to play in that Champions Week with all the other winners.
Mike, good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
So those are the thoughts of Warby. What about his opponent, Mike Gillet? I also caught up with him earlier on this evening. So, Mike, welcome to the MODUS Super Series. You've had a little look of the stage behind you. What have you made of the setup?
Yes, it's unbelievable. It's so good. It looked great on the TV. You're watching it in the last few weeks, but obviously being here in person, it's unbelievable. The effort that MODUS has done to kind of bring this to fruition now is just, it's a million miles apart from what it used to be in Southampton, and that was great as well. But I can't wait to play.
What's it like looking at it in the flesh as opposed to seeing it on a TV screen?
I guess it makes everything more real that I'm going to play there shortly, and you always think about what it might look like in the flesh, and then when you turn up and it's almost better than even what it looks like on the TV screen, and it looks amazing there. So anyone that comes along to watch it, it's fantastic.
In terms of an opportunity for a player outside the PDC system, how good and how big is this?
Yeah, I feel kind of privileged really every time I get invited. I kind of get a little in my tummy I think, I've got a message to play again, and I just feel privileged being a part of it, and being a part of it through the growth from Southampton into the venue in Portsmouth. It's unbelievable. For me, it's brought my game on 1,000,000% really, with playing against players on in the stage and back in the room in Southampton. It just helped me believe in myself, and it's just made my darts go just onwards and upwards really. And tour card's great, but there's so many great opportunities now outside of the tour cards, and MODUS is the best opportunity.
Well, Mike, good luck tonight. We look forward to seeing you out there.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.
So, and those are thoughts of Mike Gillet. So, it is Mrs. Warburton and Gillet going toe-to-toe on the Yocket. It's a battle of the two mics. Let's head over to Owen Binks, who, ironically, has in his hand a mic.
First chance to cast our eye over these two throwing the darts this week. That is Mike Gillet throwing there for you, the 38-year-old. Been travelling round a little bit recently, playing a bit on the WDF tours, been getting some quarterfinals, some semi-finals under his belt, so should book himself a place in Lakeside. The place we'd expect to see Mike Warburton as well. 37-year-old, also from Wales. Sat nicely inside the rankings at the moment on the WDF, so both these players we expect to see at Lakeside, and sort of feel Warburton's coming back into a bit of form now. He had his best years sort of around the 2018, 2019, winning the Welsh Open, the Irish Open, the Irish Classic. But we got hit by that horrible bug going around, the horrible C word, and it sort of stunted things a little bit, didn't it? All that sort of darts tour and the scene all stopped and
game on.
Not quite picked back up that title winning form yet.
No, and you had that horrible situation where you had players winning big titles in behind closed doors and not having that opportunity to celebrate it with the crowd and the presentation. But these two will know each other very well, both Welsh internationals, of course. This is their 9th meeting in the Super Series, stroke live league, and it's 5-3 to Mike Gillet.
121.
I was just looking over the stats as we do for just this year. It's the most recent sample. Gillet playing his 49th match here this year, a running average of a very solid 88.75, a high of 100.46, 57 180s. That is, sorry, that's Mike Warburton. Mike Gillet is 86.73, a high of 104.86.
180.
65 180s.
I warned you at the start of the night.
Yep, you called
180s, red pen. It's in red pen. Be warned.
It's got to be real. That'll be from your school teacher days, the red pen, isn't it? Everything negative was...
91.
Or alarming was in red pen, I remember.
I don't think it was my school teaching days. I think it was my schoolboy days. It was the red pen.
71.
Oh, that would have been
Might give require
some
80.
start to the match. Chance there for an 11 darter. Double 10 for a 14. And Warby strikes first. 2 missed darts at a double for the breaker throw.
We said about school teacher, that is the job
Second
of
leg, it's
Mike Gillet.
to throw
Yep.
first.
And he's just been taught a lesson of his own there. Do not give Mike Warburton chances, because he will punish you.
Yeah, big fan of the action of Warby. It is a throw that if you're just starting out and thinking about how you should throw a dart and someone to model your throw on, well, you won't go far wrong with this one. A beautifully light grip. Little to no wrist movement. Everything from the elbow. Head remains solid. Eyes fixed on the prize.
Prize this week, of course, is £5,000.
99.
That'll be the winner of Saturday's final. But to get to Saturday's final, the first thing they've got to do is get through this group, which means you need to be in the top 3 out of these 5 players, which isn't an easy one to pick. The bookies can't split them. I couldn't split them. Mace couldn't split them.
Well, statistically, when you looked and broke down all the numbers, it's literally not enough between any of them for a standout player to dominate the group.
And that's why I moved over to Twitter. On my Twitter handle, at the Edgar501, I put Group B kicks off tonight. Let us know your thoughts. And I put a little voting poll on there.
You love a poll.
60.
Scott Baker, 31.9% of your votes. Warburton, 29.8%. Mike Gillet, 25.5%. And other, because you can only have 4 selections on Twitter, all just 12.8%. And that includes Gavin Carlin, who we've just seen in that incredible opening game.
It'd be interesting to see their opinion now, won't it?
Get yourself over there and register a vote on that poll. If
Or
you're on
if you
Twitter.
have any questions for Matt or
60.
myself,
Might require 144.
get involved. If there's anything you have to say. Don't forget to give us a follow on our own social medias at MSS Darts, all one word, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. And don't forget, if you are watching via our YouTube channel, if you're on the MODUS Super Series one, please subscribe, hit that notification bell and give us a thumbs up. If you're on our old channel, make sure you get over it and follow the new one at MODUS Super Series on YouTube, because the old one
Game shot on the second leg.
will be ceasing showing the Super Series in a matter of weeks, and we don't want you to miss any of the action. It's all part of the rebranding, of course.
Game on.
And at some point, we will be opening the chat on the new YouTube channel, so you can interact and have your say if you don't
100.
have social media or use social media. You certainly love the social media.
Yeah, I love gathering all the different opinions.
Yeah.
And thoughts.
Oh, we've had some
and,
great feedback this week, haven't we?
Yeah, had some really good interaction and some. Earlier on, we talked about superstitions in darts,
Yeah.
didn't we? And there was some really, really good stuff coming through on that one. All got our
60.
little quirks. And
Yeah. Yeah, we all have them.
would you say yours one again? Your little.
Mine was what sort of whatever I did on, if I was at a TV tournament and day one I managed to get a win.
140.
Of all the things, whether the shirt I wore or the shoes, I mean, the shoes were a big thing. I think that's big for all the players. Always wore the same shoe. Would only wear them when you. That's bizarre. You would only sort of wear them when you play. I didn't really wear them when I practiced. I'd chuck a pair of trainers on. Maybe that was the problem.
But it does help develop that little bit of mastery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mastery defined in the dictionary is deep understanding of task.
Yep.
60.
Wonderful word. Something we're both big fans of. Something we both believe is making those tiny little adjustments and those little
60.
differences and improvements all add up.
It's the same as dance is a fine motor skill. And if you're going to go lose weight or if you're gaining weight and you just gain like a pound every week or 2 weeks,
85.
you don't notice that. And the people around you aren't going to notice that. It's the person you see 6 months down the line that sees all those little 1 pound weights gathered together when you put a stone on or you've lost a stone in weight. And it's like, oh, you can see you've lost some weight. And you won't notice it and the people
100.
around you don't because it's so micro. And
Yep.
that's why you've got to find a way to monitor your progression, because if you're going to have progression, you need to be able to see it so that you can believe in the processes and continue to
Well,
move
it was
forward.
a great point you made as well about micromanagement, and it's the same thing, isn't it? It's just managing the preparation,
131.
managing the
Like you require
practice,
81.
managing the mind. Can Warby manage to find double 12 for 2-1? Gillet waiting to
69.
pounce and will get an opportunity
Mike, you
to
require
lead
40.
2-1 and get that all-important breaker throw he needs to win the match.
With a couple of darts in the opening leg. Taking his time over this one. Doesn't want Warburton to come back to the board, and he won't. Mike Gillet with a second dart in hand, pings the tops and breaks the throw, takes a 2-1 lead. A little bit of a fist bump there. We tend to see that across the pond on the American and Canadian scene. They like a fist bump after a leg.
Yeah, they sure do. Almost part of their culture, isn't it? There's a 17 dart breaker throw there.
100.
I say about preparation, I'd say these guys, with the experience they've got as well, I think they get it right when they all got in nice and early. Really early. Got the practice in. About 20 minutes before the game, it was still quite boisterous in there. You could still hear the banter going, the laughs, the giggles. Now the games have started. Silence.
99.
And you can have a laugh, you can enjoy it, you can do all that, but when it's time to go, it's time to go. And that's the sort of atmosphere it's got. It's just got really cold and serious
60.
pretty quickly in there.
All the fun and games are over.
$132.
These good darts from Mike Gillet. He's 170 after 9. The average
60. Mike, you require 170.
0.18 for Mike Gillet. Very good start to the day, this. Tony Baker, 94 in his opening game. Carlin beating that 94 average with a 4-3 victory.
And Warby this year, of course, made his debut in the WDF World Championships, reaching the round of 16 before going down to another Super Series regular, Jim McEwen, who went down to another Super Series regular, Neil Duff,
29.
in a fabulous game. Won by Neil Duff, 4 sets to 3 in the end. Averaged nearly Well, over 94. I seem to have
89.
rattled the Belmets with my comment a little earlier regarding Neil Duff, who has obviously accepted his invitation into the World Seniors, and unless you've been, well, if you're not really a darts
60.
fan, then I'm sure you know that
Mike, you require 40.
the World Seniors will clash with the
Game
latter
shot
part
full
of
flag.
the WDF
Mike
Worlds.
Gillet.
And he's accepted his invitation into those seniors, so can't play in
Fifth leg, it's Mike Warburton to throw first.
the
Game
WDF,
on.
thus unable to defend his title. Really not complicated, but incredibly, that week on the Thursday night, we will have the seniors, the Premier League,
60.
the WDF, and the Super Series all on the same night. 4 different channels, 4 totally different types of darts.
But the good thing now is modern ways in which we
96.
view production and modern ways in which we can watch. Probably find a way to watch all 4 of those at the exact same time. We do that when I watch football and I go around with friends. We have one game on here, one on
60.
this. We've got Soccer Saturday on another screen.
Yeah, well, I've got the PDC.TV on my TV, and someone, don't know how they've done it, but I've got like a split screen so I can watch both streamed
100.
boards. And then on my laptop, I'll split that up if there's something else going. Well, I'll have Dart Connect on that one. Of course, recently we've had a lot of boxing
100.
cards on when, you know, the Queensbury shows and the Matchroom shows on DAZN. So I had DAZN on the TV and the BT broadcast on the laptop.
100.
Things have changed since the days of black and white TVs when you used to have to go over and I guess you'd have to, no remote, you'd
Well,
have to walk across.
I can remember the old cable for watching the Mike Tyson fights, and you did mention
180.
about the maxes, and Warby pops in one. He needs them as well. He's trailing 3-1.
135.
It does not
Mike,
get
you
the red
require
pen out for no
101.
reason. So that's 6 already tonight. We're only in game 2.
Yep. Like you say, everybody's numbers coming into this. We're
69.
all
Mike,
good.
you require
All
70.
close. This is for the match. This is a big win for Gillet. Could confirm his head-to-head record against Warby. Oh dear, that's a poor one. What were the odds for this one before the off?
Mike
30.
Warburton, 8 to 11.
Mike, you
Mike
require
Gillet,
32.
even money. Mike Warburton
Hmm.
was the favourite to take this group as well, so
Game shot on the 5th leg.
Well,
Mike
that was a
Warburton.
missed match opportunity for Gillet there, missing the big 20 to get a dart at tops to wrap it up 4-1. Warby's
Fifth leg,
got
it's
one
Mike
back
Gillet to throw first.
on throw.
Game on.
A 16 darter in the end. Gillet has the honour by virtue of that break of throw in,
140.
was it leg 3? Kicks with a 140.
when you think about it, against the throw, he had the dart in the last leg. He had 2 darts in the opening.
100.
Had opportunities here. He could be back in the practice room already.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen a lovely bit on Facebook from Niall Culleton earlier,
59.
who just put a picture of the stage in some venue. It is a multi-million-pound venue, this one. It's been refurbished, modernised to
100.
these standards, using the latest technology to try and bring you the best broadcast possible. All the players have that same view, don't they? They come out and just sort of, wow,
9.
what a place.
Fantastic venue. Mike Warburton would have been fantastic for him, but it'd been music to his ears just to hear 9.
Yep.
Because that knows.
It's the second 9 we've had today, isn't it?
We had a 9 earlier from Dave Prince. Managed to troll people on Twitter with that one earlier on today. Managed to get a few of you.
134. Mike, you reckon 161.
Is terrible thinking. The 134 has just bogeyed himself and almost said to Mike Warburton, Have 6 darts at this. You
Yep.
can now set this up rather than going for the ball.
129.
Did exactly that. Well, picked off the 18, didn't even think about the ball. I'd be trolling him in school tomorrow.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be walking past the maths department, does he, tomorrow?
139. Mike, you
Imagine if he is a maths teacher.
32.
Well, he's a maths teacher, isn't he? Double eight for a
Game's
level
on the
game, and
sixth leg.
Warby
Mike Warburton.
using just 30 darts across legs 5 and 6 to give us a level game, and that break back
Seventh
we go
and final leg. It's Mike Warburton to
the
throw
last leg
first.
shootout, as we did in
Game
match
on.
1, but when they're being played at this level, it's great to commentate on.
Very limited in the treble-less visits as well, aren't they? The
60.
tumpless scores here in 6 legs. 16 tumpless scores for Mike Warburton. 14 for Mike Gillet.
Yeah, 30 between them. That's some going in
100.
6 legs of darts.
And adding them up as well. But
Yeah.
you just sort of feel if there's someone from Mr. Gillet's school watching, which is a secondary school, so it's a possibility.
100.
He doesn't want to be going into assembly tomorrow.
159, 134, they'll be shouting out.
Might be shouting 180 here.
180.
Calls the third 180 of the match, but the most important one, really, when we look at the timing. It might be the most important one until this one.
140.
That squeeze between the two.
On Monday, when we looked at the names that was going to be playing in these groups, we said Group B is going to be loaded with
93.
quality.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all capable of beating each other, and that may be the case over the 2 nights. I'm totally with you. This one, I don't think anyone's going to run away with it, and it's going to come down to leg difference.
140. Mike,
Which when the first game was 4-3, this one is guaranteed to be 4-3 as well.
And they're both going to go to the players who had the honour. Remember, those roles are reversed in tomorrow's matches. This one will be the penultimate game of the evening, and it will be Gillet who will get the honour. That's a lovely dart to leave
Mike,
top. So,
61.
well, he wants a 25. What's the odds he hits a ball? Oh, lovely. What a bonus.
Game shot on the match.
And what a finish to
Mike
the match.
Warburton.
Mike Warburton gets the better, only just over Mike Gillet, who was impressive, averaging 96.77. But it is Warby with 93.06 who picks up the 2 points when we're coming back. Niall Culleton against Gavin Carlin.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. We said Group B was going to be a close group. Well, it couldn't be any tighter than the start we've already had. 2 games played, 2 4-3s, and this time it was Mike Warburton that won the battle of the 2 mics of a 93.06 average, 4 from 7 on the doubles. The bread and butter for Mr. Warburton there. Mike Gillet with an average of 96.77, 2 maximums to his name, but 7 missed darts at doubles, the reason why he lost that particular matchup. So we now go into game 3 of our evening, and we see the one player we haven't seen yet in this group. That's Niall Culleton, returning to this competition after a year away. And earlier on this evening, I caught up with him to gauge his thoughts about this fantastic new setup here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Niall, welcome to the MODUS Super Series. What's it like to be here?
It's great to be back. I'm looking forward now since I think it was this time last year since I was here, so I've been looking forward to a good while to come back and really like it.
It's been a while. It's been a while, as you say, since we've seen you last. What's your game been like in that time?
Yeah, it's been a busy year. A lot going on, operations and house moves and stuff like that, but other than that, now we're just getting back into it now, and hopefully the game has come back to lack end of the year, like, you know what I mean? Fingers crossed to see how it goes.
I suppose it must be nice just to sit down and focus on the darts for a couple of days.
Yeah, it's nice to actually get this competitive darts into me and see where I am. At least then I know what I can base myself off of, what I need to work on and that, and just give myself something to build on, really.
Just playing with a bit of freedom this week, just see what happens?
Yeah, like there's a lot involved in it, and it's important as well, but it's a free role as well for myself, like, because as I said, I'm only getting back into it and that, so it's kind of a case of see what happens and enjoy it, really.
Looking forward to getting on that stage?
Yeah, love the stage. Cameras, love it.
No, good luck tonight.
Cheers, thanks very much.
So then those are thoughts of Niall Culleton ahead of his first match here at the Live Lounge. He takes on Gavin Carlin, who's already been in the winners' enclosure this evening, beating Scott Baker by 4 legs to 3. Let's get game 3 underway in the company of your commentary team. It's Matthew Edgar. And first, Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. Oh, interesting to see where his game's at. Myself and Matt, we were digging around, wondering where he'd been and what he'd been doing, and explained beautifully as his hometown of Kilkenny. What a lovely place. I lived there myself for a couple of years. This man a little bit farther away than Kilkenny, up in Derry. Well, these two must know each other very well.
Yeah, I'm not going to fall into a trap I made before, that just assuming someone's from the same country, that means they're nearby. I did this, I think, Nick Kenny and played someone else from Wales, can't remember who it was, and I was like, oh, they must have played each other in Super League or something, and not realising that there's actually 200 miles apart. So my geography isn't my best, it's not my strongest, so...
It's a big part of the UK Wales. I know my partner lives in North Wales, the mountainous area of Corwin. And if I went via sort of across to Cardiff and not that way, it would take me around about 7 hours to get to.
So just going through what Niall was just explaining to us there in the interview, saying he's had the house move, which means a lack of practice. He wouldn't have had his board up in this time, so he's not going to operations. And he said, in his own words, see where I am. That essentially says that all these stats and data that we wrote down here, we can just scrub a line straight through them, because it's kind of irrelevant, that form line, because it's got such a gap between it.
Yep, absolutely. It's been a big gap. I'm not sure what the operations were about. Of course, that's
78.
Niall's business, but hopefully it was nothing arm related. I'd like to refer to him as the big Irish Viking.
100.
Oh, lovely fella. Some beard, isn't it?
Maybe it was a hair transplant for the beard. The big full beard.
Yeah, that's a proper beard.
58. Now we rock 101.
Will he be the beard to be feared this evening? Going along okay here. Does have a very flat lie, so moves right.
Who's left? It's,
45.
the cha-cha slide for Niall here. Slide to the left, slide to the right. And hoping to slide in 16 and tops and take the opening leg.
90. Now we require 56.
He's part of the Cleveland Arms group of managed players.
Game
My
shot
mate
in the
Will
first
Adamson.
leg. Niall Culleton.
Cleveland Arms in Wolverhampton, a wonderful pub. I know you've spent many a night in there.
Second leg, it's Gavin to throw first.
It's
Game
same
on.
stable as Scott Williams,
Yep.
who's pulling up trees all around the world at the moment.
140.
Sure is. Not far off, of course, of
140.
winning a tour card via the actual Pro Tour ranking order of merit.
You know, plenty of opportunity to get in there with those three big majors he's got coming up at the end of
100.
the year. The Grand Slam, the Players' Championship final, and obviously the World Championship, where
Yeah, big money.
any wins there are massive changes in the
45.
rankings. It literally just turned the rankings on its head. Everything that happens all year kind of gets blown out the water when you get to the Worlds.
Yeah, because he had two opportunities, didn't he? We discussed it in the week that he could take it via the winning the Challenge Tour, which is 1 year, but then he has to start from scratch in ranking money. Is that right?
No, get 2
Gavin, you
years
reckon 121.
Challenge Tour. But if he goes through the top 64, he gets another year and then defends this year in 2 years.
Right.
57.
It sounds more complicated than it is.
I've played in it and I still don't get it. Although, well, I never played Challenge Tour, of course. I think
100.
that came in around about,
Gavin, you require 64.
2014.
yeah. And then the ranking system changed in 2011, was it?
I think that was possibly 2010.
24.
2011
Now we
was the tour card
150.
introduction.
Ah, that's right, yeah.
Edgarpedia of darts.
I was long gone by then.
84.
Darts are in the bin.
Gavin, you
Borders in the
require
bin.
40.
Trophies went in the bin. Well, didn't need a very big bin for those. Could have used me
Game
waste
shot on
paper
the second
basket.
leg.
And a
Gavin
good reply
Carlin.
for Gavin Carlin. He holds throw in 16. He's getting better in increments
it's
of one.
Niall
Hope
to
this one
throw
goes all the way.
first. Game on.
17 in leg 1, 16 leg 2. Incoming a 15. Well, for a fella that's not been playing a lot of darts, he's
140.
going along quite nicely. Both players averaging, well, after that 140, Niles has jumped to 92, as has Gavin Carlin's. Here we go. Good start from both.
140.
Sometimes a break can be a good thing. So we'll just
100.
restart everything. Get rid of any sort of bad habits that may have fallen into the throw.
Exactly. When we said about all this stuff here, I'm
45.
essentially now going to ignore what's happened in the past. I'm not really going to refer to that for the night. It's about what happens tonight for Niall.
Yep.
And he will feel that as well within his game.
140.
Absolutely. Well, we had the Joker playing this afternoon, Davy Proston, and I did remark, I think he left himself 147.
58.
This is almost
Gavin, you require
just an
121.
incredible thing. Well, the Jester actually hit a 147 today in the British
107.
Open. Congratulations
Now we
to Mark
require
Selby, a big fan of the
118.
game. Good pal of mine. Don't know how many he's hit now. It's got to be a few. Well, first break of
94.
throw opportunity
Gavin, you require 14.
goes to Gavin Carlin. Oh, 3-2. It's just, how often do we see this double go in after just
10.
squeezing in the single?
Now we require
An
24.
opportunity now to hold his throw. This is sort of the thing that's let Gavin down this
Game
week,
shot the
killing off
third
these
leg.
legs, killing off these games.
Niall
It's
Culleton.
a 16 dart, so it wasn't the 15 dart that Mace wanted, but it's another 16 dart, which the 93 average.
It's
That's
Gavin to throw first.
good standard
Game
of
on.
darts and quite hard to break. It's forcing your opponent to go out with that 100 average.
Well, Gavin there had a chance for a 13 and then 2-2 for a 15.
59.
Those increments of one could have been followed. But pretty sure Cullerton will be happy with the current scoreline. of 2 next to 1.
45.
Said I'm about to scribble my notes out, get out the black marker pen to scribble those notes out. But there's one thing I'm not going to scribble out. It's the walk-on song. Niall Culleton,
140.
a hard take on me, which tells me he doesn't have a lot of music taste.
That was a big hit back in the 80s.
100.
Scandinavian band, of course. It's #1 for a while, I'm sure.
57.
I wonder if Owen has encountered Stuart Little yet. You did, didn't you?
Yes, I was greeted in the commentary box by a little mouse,
134.
and not an only animal person, so I ran out of here quite fast to go get some help and couldn't really find any. It took about 6 blokes huddled by the door,
140.
fearful for life, as we were all gathered round, huddled round each other, looking at this little mouse.
And these two are absolutely, they're big units.
95.
And they were all hid behind the door.
105.
Who eventually came in with a glass for the catch and release?
I don't know, I was
You were-
too far back.
You were back in Southampton.
Game shot on the 4 flag. Gavin
Lovely.
Carlin.
105 from Gavin. He's with 1 dart in hand. He seems more comfortable.
5 leg, it's
Well, there is
Niall
our
to throw
15.
first. Game on.
And it is a hold with the 105 out.
I did think I was in safe hands when Mace got here. I was
60.
like, Mace will be able to deal with this. No.
No. No. I don't like. Well, I did have a pet rat when I was a kid, but those when they're
100.
pets, you don't, you know.
It's the way you describe it, like we're all huddled by the door, like there's a tiger in here.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a big mountain lion
60.
lurking around in the comms box. It's a 25mm long field mouse. Could basically sit in the cap of
100.
a cap of a bottle.
$96.
Bad thing is, it can't hurt you.
No, but you'd have thought so with the gathering of people down the corridor trying to peer over the top just to see if it's been caught yet.
41.
Actually ran off down towards the stage in the end. So we've seen the fly in the Winter Gardens at Blackpool, the Ali Pali wasp.
We've now got Stuart Little the Mouse at the Super Series.
85.
Got to make an appearance.
Probably getting there looking at Niall Culleton and looking at his beard and thinking that'd be a nice little bed for me to nestle down in.
$55.
You'll all be pleased to know we do have safe catch and release boxes.
100.
Couldn't be having mousetraps. I'm an animal lover. Don't like people too much.
Well, Gavin took out a 105 in the last leg. Niall's got a chance here to get a tumpless finish of his own. Another holder throw.
38.
And put him
Niall,
one
you
away
require
from the
100.
match. Top
80.
seems to be the route of
Gavin, you
all the
require
players nowadays.
167.
There's only one way to do this one. That's not it. And Niall will come back. Double 10
60. Niall, you
That's 20
require
points.
20.
for a 3-2 lead. 2 5s.
Game shot on the
Good
fifth
dart
leg.
there from Niall.
Niall Culleton.
Holds his throw again. That one a little more. Took him 20 darts this time, but it's the same result. It's a leg on the
Six-leg,
board.
it's Gavin
He's
to throw
one leg away
first.
now
Game on.
from registering 2 points. When he said, in his own words, I'm going to see where I am and see how it goes.
He didn't know where his... Well, there's no form line, is there? Because it's been
86.
such a long time since he's played any kind of competitive darts at this level.
I have down as Q School the last time we saw.
140.
Been playing his sort of real competitive, serious sort of darts in this sort of field of play.
And of course, it was last year when he was involved in the
57.
Ben Live League down in Southampton. Well, I did have an idea. Now, if I'd have been more like you with this social media stuff, I had an idea for the Gavin Carlin, Franz Roach incident. Carlin, of course, was in that wonderful film about Borstor. He goes, "Where's your tool? What tool? This tool," and he pins him to the board with a dart.
95.
We'll see Franz again in the morning.
Yeah.
Group C. Got a last opportunity to get himself through to Saturday's final.
140. No, we rock 126.
This for the match. Bull.
101.
And this.
Gavin, you rock 122.
For a holder throw, he's going to be forced to take the 1-2-2. That is awkward. That is a miss.
54.
For Niall Culleton to get this wrapped 25. Up. He didn't know where he was. He's 25 points away.
Should be a good guide.
5.
And he put it down they attempted to put it down the side and slide it in. What can Carlin do with 68?
Gavin, you require 68.
Seen this a lot this week from Gavin. Takes his time, composes, and normally when he does it,
game shot on the
hits.
sick flag.
He's done that again
Gavin
there. A
Carlin.
fantastic finish from Gavin Carlin. And once again, we go all the way. We said nothing splits
Seventh and
them, and
finally,
we're
it's
literally
Niall to
splitting
throw
the players
first. Game on.
by a leg.
The bet line tonight was over 5.5 in every match because there was so little between
60.
all of them, and there's so little between them in every aspect of this game. Just one separates them in the scoring phase of the game, and the
60.
average is equally as tight. Parity across the board. 4-4-1, 4-4-1, 3-3, but that's a great 140.
I'll just have the advantage of throw. Neither of them are really messing around at the back end of the leg as well. When it comes to the doubling and getting out, so
134.
2 trebles apiece there.
36.
Good Twitter polls. I was thinking that when I was mentioned Carlin in that film, I was thinking about Ray Winston. I met Ray Winstone in Langham's in London, a lovely eatery.
95.
Who's the most famous person you've ever met? Apart from me.
Ooh. I'll have to have a think about that one, I think, for a moment.
For me,
46.
I did a show with Pele. Not a dart show, it was a Q&A type thing, a top table thing. He was obviously the main top table guest. But yeah, definitely
100.
Pele for me.
But there wasn't a lot splitting them, and Niall Cullerton's offered an opportunity. This is just a bit of lack
77.
of practice. The 36 to
require
46.
112.
The 77, these key moments.
For the first time, he's having to force, well, he shouldn't be, but he is forcing the issue.
But that's the lack of play.
Yeah.
When you're playing regularly, you don't feel you need to force something, you just expect it to come. And you've had that break. This would be a break at the right time.
96.
Double eight.
No, we record
We've seen Gavin on this
142.
all week, and his stats on double eight are incredible. So, no, I didn't want him coming back, but he's going to with 3 in hand.
42.
Yep, that leaves a straight ton,
Gavin,
but
you
you
require
wouldn't
16.
think he'd be getting a go.
Game shot of the
doesn't,
match.
As Gavin Carlin
Gavin Carlin.
with the only break of throw in the match, and it came in the deciding leg, winning 4 legs to 3, a very, very tidy 88.42. Gavin Carlin makes it 2 from 2. Up next, Scott Baker versus Mike Warburton.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the last time we saw this many 4-3s in succession, I think it was the 1990s when Liverpool took on Newcastle United in the Premier League. Let's round up our latest last leg thriller then in the Super Series between Niall Culleton and Gavin Carlin. And once again, it was Carlin that got the better of the last leg. A 105 high checkout, an 88.42 average, 4 for 9 on the doubles. For Cullerton, he had the opportunity to win his first game here at the Super Series in just over a year since his return to this format. He will go again in a couple of games' time against Mike Gillet. But coming up next is a real battle you'll want to see here. Scott Baker, who finished second in Group A on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesdays in action against the man who made the World Masters semi-finals back in 2019 in Mike Warburton. Let's hand back to our commentary team for this one. It's Chris Mason and first, Matt Edgar.
This is two players who have very, very high ceilings. Two players that could produce the best game of the night. And that's going to take some doing because we've got some talent on show tonight. Mike Warburton opened his campaign up with a 4-3 victory over Mike Gillet. 93 average in that one. Scott Baker did go down in his opening game, but did average 94. Expecting a high quality affair from these two.
Yeah, this year their highs have been 104.96 for Warby, 107.36 for Baker. That's a mention of high ceilings evident with those numbers. And of course, Warby has had, when I look through the all-time
Okay, first leg, it's Scott to throw first.
stat since we
Game on.
our humble beginnings.
.43.
I think it's, when you look at the odds for this game as well, Scott Baker 4-5, Mike Warburton 10-11, just shows that they're dismissing the advantage of throw because this could be anything in terms of how high they can reach the level of performance.
Yeah, well, Warby back in phase 5 of 2021 at
100.
115.62 against Connor Scott. He's also had 111.33.
60.
That 115.62, the sixth best average we've ever seen
60.
in any version of this event.
Yeah, 118.44 is the record. We've had two 117.88s, one from Barstow. That was against Gillet. One from Dan Reed, 117.2 from Kevin Burness. Conor Heenahan, week 8 of this
45.
series, 115.62. Robert Owens also had 115.62. Josh Payne, 113.49. Actually had 153 averages in excess of 105.
Also had 61 10-dart legs. Mike Warburton's been involved in 7 of those.
Mike Rock 142.
5 times been on the wrong end of them. Got 2 of his own. 10-dart legs are something he's not enjoying.
45.
10-dart wound.
Scott, you're 153.
You sometimes get this when you get 2 players that have scary levels of ceiling that
Mike require
give them a cagey
97.
start. A bit too much respect.
I was just about to say exactly that, Matt. This could often be a bit too much respect.
$57. Scott, you require
18 darts to get
32.
down to the double.
Game
Just
show on
one
the
to get
first
out.
leg.
Hold
Scott
a throw
Baker.
there for Scott Baker. There's the fist pump again.
A lot of the
Second leg, it's Mike to throw first.
across a lot of the
Game
all-time
on.
records are highlighted in my data. There's a lot of red pen for the the names of players involved in not only this group,
60.
also Josh Payne in Group C.
Well, I think Josh Payne holds so many records here. He's
60.
really produced his best stuff down here in this sort of format and in this event, and that's why he's top of Group C.
Yep.
And I look at the odds before we get started, and I've actually got 8 to 13 to win that group, and I think that is
60.
mahoosive.
Exactly the word I was going to use. That is big.
140.
Baker holding in 19. One of these will
45.
start to kick for the line before we know it. It's been I agree. A match
60.
where they've just showed each other a little bit too much respect early on.
You mentioned kicking for the line. If Warburton doesn't find some trebles soon, he'll be kicking himself.
$140.
Much better.
Needed.
So I just saw there he slowed it down a bit. Maybe a sign that he thinks he's getting caught up in the Scott Baker pace.
140.
Yeah, great point. Well made. Something that we've spoke about in depth this week. How easy it is to fall into that trap of getting sped up, as it is when you go against a slower player and you start to become
60.
more
You
deliberate
require
with your own style.
101.
Remember, Paul Nicholson said playing Ricky Evans was like being in a
Game
whirlwind.
shot on the second
She was
leg.
just round and round so
Scott
fast.
Baker.
Oh, Scott Baker finding double 12 for the
Delegate
101
Scott
out.
to throw first.
The 140
Game
before
on.
it, backing up the 140 from Warby means it was 2-4-1 in 6.
83.
And a break a throw. A 2-0 lead. Warby in a spot of bother here. Yeah, you tend to just throw, walk around, and you're at the hockey again. You're just going
45.
around in circles. You get giddy.
So the other thing about these two players, if you was ever going to pick some players to go on a night out with, these would be two characters you'd like to spend some time with.
180.
Yeah, both good fun. I said I played a lot of darts in my time in the West Midlands with Scott Baker, with and against.
100.
He was one of those, he was okay, a tidy enough player, but really did apply
60.
himself. And it is a hotbed of darts, of course, in the West Midlands. Produced some great players over the years. When you had players like Jason Lowe knocking around in Super League who would never travel, we used to just average 90 plus every time we
134.
played Super League. We're like, mate, go a Q school, start playing tournaments. And there's loads of them like that. Nick Fulwell was another one
100.
who's gone on to do great things in the world of darts.
I find Jason Lowe's one of those players, that's one of those rare ones that are really good, but they don't realise how good they actually are.
180.
Wayne
Got required
Jones and
78.
Ian Jones, a player who's been around playing top quality stuff for many a
Game
year.
shot on the third
And
leg.
that is quality.
Scott Baker.
Back to back, 15 dart legs. Just when Warby looks like he's going to get himself back in
Delegate
this one,
Mike to throw first.
Baker has found another gear.
If you are a Mike Warburton fan, don't be too alarmed just yet. He has been 3-0 down a few times
60.
before and actually been able to turn that around to the point where he wins those games. And against quality opposition, Matt Denon, Adam Smith-Neal and Jared Cole.
134.
Taking a 3-0 lead on Mike, and then he's found some inspired darts to turn it around, so it's not over yet. But it might be
60.
very soon.
60s aren't going to win it for him.
134.
1-3-4, followed by 1-3-7, followed by 1-3-4. Back to back
55.
1-3-4s.
Scott Baker has turned up in the mood tonight. Yes, he lost his first game, but that was with a 94.40.
And just by the odd leg, wasn't it, against Gavin Carlin?
And he missed 9 darts, a double in that game.
Yep.
And still averaged just shy of 95.
Gavin Carlin backed that big win up with a breaker throw win against Niall Culleton. All the matches on the distance.
72.
I did say off air that I just can't, literally just before this one got going, there's just no way I can see anybody giving anybody a bagel this evening. But Scott Baker is 62 points away against doing it against, 62. For me, the most unlikely of all the 4 other players. Double 16.
30.
Oh, his finishing has been delightful. A doubling delight. He was 3 out of 4 on the doubles prior to that missed double 16. He'll take 4 from 6.
45.
A number we see quite regularly.
Scott, you require 32.
A handful of darts, and maybe more if he needs them. Michael Warburton is nodding his head, he's expecting.
24.
But Scott Baker is not
Mike,
delivering.
You require 123.
Finishing line, isn't it?
He has done this. When we talk about Mike Warburton turning games around, being able to come back from 3-0 down, we have seen Scott Baker throw away a 3-0 lead already this week. That was against Gavin Carlin.
55.
But that was when
Scott,
Gavin was taking out those sort of shots.
Yep. When he took out that great turn and then backed up with a 1-2-7 on the ball.
Scott Baker.
Scott Baker pins the double 4 for an end average. Again, very, very tidy. Over 29 per dart. 88.41, 1-180, or 1-180 apiece. He is all zip to Scott Baker. When we come back, it will be Mike Gillet against Niall Culleton.
A 4-0 victory for the mod. Scott Baker, who says to the rest of the field, what you going to do about it, as he gets the better of Mike Warburton with a whitewash victory. Let's have a look then at the match statistics from that previous encounter. An 88.41 average for the mod, 4 out of 9 on the doubles, that high out of 101, which is absolutely excellent. For Warburton, one of those games that he'll just want to put to the back of his mind and go again. He's already got a victory on the board this evening against Mike Gillet, who we're going to see in our next match against Niall Culleton. Both looking to get their first victories of the week on the board. Let's find out who's going to do exactly that in the company of our commentary team. It's Chris Mason and Matt Edgar.
Opportunity here. One of them's got to get onto 2 points. Both of them just went down in tight games in their opening games, both 4-3, so not too much damage in the legs column. So we look through the head-to-head stats and we see if we can get any sort of reference or any sort of guide going on this one. And you've had a look through them, haven't you, Chris?
I have. And their first meeting, 2021, Phase 5 down in Southampton. It was a Thursday and Friday morning Group C. Their first one was a cracker. Cullerton winning 4-2. Mike Gillet, 93.87 average, 2 out of 2 on the doubles. Niall Culleton, 100.26, 4 out of 4 on the doubles. So we had 6 out of 6 on the doubles. The next day, narrowly got revenge, did Gillet, winning 4-3, despite Culleton averaging 5 points more, but missed 9 at a double in that match.
And they are obviously only a guide. And that can be case in point from that last game that we just had. Mike Warburton played Scott Baker 4 times in this format. Best of 7 in this, what was then the Live League. It's 4-0 to Mike Warburton, which was actually the scoreline. He actually lost by.
Yeah, it was exactly that. The ultimate revenge move. But this is the final match of the second cycle of games. All the players will have completed 2 rounds of matches with 2 rounds of matches to go. And whatever happens, we're going to end up at the halfway point with Gavin Carlin on 4 points plus 2. Scott Baker 2 points plus 3 by virtue of that 4-0 win. Warby 2 points minus 3 because of the 4-0 defeat.
60.
And one of these, as you've already said, Matt, we'll move on to 2 points.
So just dissecting that and putting a summary in, what you're saying is by the end of this, we're going to be none the wiser
96.
over who is going to be taking this.
No, we didn't have a clue before the off, and we're halfway through on the opening session, and we still don't have a clue.
60.
Going to have
Like
more
145.
plot twists and turns than an episode of Dallas.
$97.
Twists and turns. I think that's what Niall probably is going to feel throughout tonight.
Yeah.
Uncertainty in his own game just doesn't give you the confidence at the right moments. We saw that in the last game when it came down to the crunch moments.
Well, even from playing a bit of local league, you tend to get a bit more of a feel of where you are. When I sort of put the darts down and then started doing a few shows, I was going in absolutely blind because I just didn't know where I was at. And it's irrelevant what you do in practice, because practice you're just sort of going through the motions. It's when the referee or the marker says game on.
Talk a lot about practice with people and when they're looking for training plans or advice and things, and I say make sure that within your practice you're not just throwing at targets.
Yep.
You're not just turning over a technique and throwing at targets. When you play a game, you play with emotion. You play with a purpose. Every dart you throw has an attachment to it. You score 20 points, a treble, a double. Everything's got an outcome. So you need to have that outcome in the practice as well. So that there isn't a difference between the match and the practice.
What I tended to do when sort of between 98 and 2001, which was when I had most of my what I feel were my best years. Monday would be with Taylor. Tuesday, I would work on
180.
I'll work on the finer elements of my game, whether technique. Wednesday it'd be back with Taylor. Thursday was on my own technique. Friday was usually with Bob Anderson.
84.
Got another 9.
125.
Probably after a practice session with Taylor, you probably felt you needed to work on the technique.
Well, yeah, I'd get gubbed 50 legs to 10 and average 98. So there wasn't really but it was just something that I felt worked for me. I wouldn't overdo it on the sort of more technical days.
27.
But that just worked out. It was a nice balance. Like I say, I was always a great believer of finding someone who's equal or a little bit better than you. Which is why I used Phil. He was just a little bit better than me, so that worked out nicely. But you need to be pushed. It's no good practicing with someone you're sort of massively levels
38.
above, because you learn nothing about yourself.
19.
Amazed he didn't
Mike, you require
switch.
32.
Or if you are going to go for it, you've got to go for it. 2-0. Both on the wire, one inside, one outside.
Game shot on the second leg.
Works it in.
Mike Gillet.
Works a bit of magic. Does Gillet, and it is a leg to Gillet.
So
Back to
Mike
back,
to throw
18
first.
darters, and they've been enough so far.
Game on.
Missed opportunity for Niall on the double 19, but wasn't even committed at that double until the final dart, and you tend to then really just sort of flash at it, don't you?
Guessing.
123.
Just going back to what you were saying there about playing people that are better than you. And quite often you'll see a lot of people say, play someone
70.
who's so better than you and all. You said that a little bit better than you. I think that's the key point. Because you don't want to get pumped all the time. And
No, because that just puts negative thoughts in your mind. You know, it's for me practicing with Taylor. It was literally that I couldn't have had a better practice partner, and at the time I thought that was the best thing for me, and I wasn't, you know, I didn't walk away disappointed, because I thought to myself, well, if I can perform like I do against him, against everybody else, you know, I got a great chance. If he has a slip up and someone beats him out of the blue, I might be able to sneak one, as we've seen from a lot of players during that era. As it was, it didn't quite work out, but it worked for me. But I was fairly advanced in my game by then anyway. I was already, I was
130.
had already played in major tournaments at that point.
you tend to find darts is one of them things you can't really pick up off other people as well. Like, if this was boxing, you're looking for a sparring partner or a bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can learn from going against those higher grades of fighters, where with this, you're just going to get pumped all the time.
Game shot on the third leg.
That's a much better leg.
Mike Gillet.
14 dart hold, yeah, which is, when I do or give a bit of advice, I always say just a little bit better than you. So and then as you become a better player and you start to dominate that player that was a little bit better than you, you just go up another little level. And it's all about the smaller increments of improvement, because I always fear for these players that play at a level for a long time, and then all of a sudden hit this new high from absolutely nowhere. They don't tend to maintain that high.
Well, there's one thing that lacks in... I've dealt with hundreds of players, hundreds.
100.
And there's one thing that really lacks in every single thing that I see, and that's progression. Progressive practice. Tend to fall into a couple of traps, really. And that's just because the information that's out there in relation to darts at the moment.
Yeah, and on those technical days, if I did do my routines, I'd make them more difficult. I'd make them less achievable.
100.
So, it felt like they were milestones every time I...
Progression.
Yeah.
If you want to progress, you need progressive practice.
It's
what you put in,
it's like
what you get out.
weightlifting.
Yeah.
It's small increments of progression in terms of weight, and ultimately the body responds and you get stronger. It's no different, really. Why they call it progressive overload in the gym world.
Seen 3-4 threes back to back. We could see
One.
back-to-back 4-0s, because that is a
120.
well-timed 180. To red pen.
To leave 24. That's his second max of the match. Averaging 95 and change.
30.
Can he seal the deal with
Margin
double 12?
required,
He's 50%
24.
on doubles. He's got 3 in hand. That tells me this goes.
Game shot and the match.
And he wraps it
Mike
up with the
Gillet.
last start in hand. Mike Gillet completes the second 4-0 of the day. Follows in Scotty Baker, who took a 4-0 over Mike Warburton in the last game there. Mike Gillet, a 92 average. Good darts from him today. Follows that in. He had a 96.77 earlier in defeat to Mike Warburton. He's definitely turned up to play darts. Playing good darts. 4 180s so far today already just for him. Most importantly, he's now got 2 points on the board and plus 4 legs going in his legs column after a 4-0 victory.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where it was a 4-0 victory for Mike Gillet in our previous match. Happy to say that Chris Mason has joined me up on the balcony to review the opening half of the evening session. But before we do that, let's have a look at the match stats from that clash between Gillet and Cullerton. A 92.49 average was what won it in the end for the man from Hampshire. 2 maximums to his name and 4 from 9 on the doubles. But Chris is with me up on the balcony to look back at the first 5 matches. And Chris, what a weird dynamic it is. The 2 players that lose their opening game 4-3 then go on to win their second match by 4-0.
Yeah, shows their great mentality towards the game. They weren't disappointed in that 4-3 defeat and bounced back, both of them, very well with 2 big 4-0 wins. And as we know, leg difference in Group B always plays its part, and that might be just the telling point when we review this tomorrow night.
Most definitely. Well, the table is on your screen now. Gavin Carlin, the only player on the card so far to have won both of his opening 2 matches and on 4 points. No matter what else happens to him for the remainder of the evening, he is set fair for tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. He's in a good position. You want to win, well, you want to win all your matches, but you win your opening 2. It takes a massive amount of pressure off him going into the remaining 2 matches tonight and the remaining 4 matches tomorrow night. Gillet, Baker and Warby well in the mix. Niall Culleton, as we knew from that interview, not played a lot of darts this year, and his final 2 games of tonight's session is against Warby and Scott Baker. That is a tough run-in for the night. And, you know, if you don't... We've seen players come from bottom to get one of the top 3 positions, which is the beauty of this Group B. But this is a real tight field. It's going to be tough for him, you'd think.
Because of what's happened, and he spoke so openly, honestly about it, is he kind of on a free roll no matter what happens in this group now?
Yeah, he looks comfortable enough. He looks like he's enjoying as much as you can enjoy it, getting beaten. And he's got a good approach to the sport. He's a smart enough fella. He'll know that if he's coming in cold, it is what it is. Just enjoy it. Just use the moment. We've seen it with Gavin Carlin. His form coming into this wasn't great, and he used that Group A as more or less a springboard, as Davey did, to get ready for these Group C's and Group B's.
And it is Gavin we're going to see in action in our next match up against Mike Warburton, who will want to see more of the signs from the first game as opposed to the second. Yeah,
and again, he's experienced enough. He's played a lot of the live, as it was the live league, now the Super Series. It won't bother him. He'll bounce back okay here.
So, and that is game 6 of our evening. Chris is going to race his way back down to the commentary box to join Matthew Edgar.
Thank you, Henry. This is a game that, like all of them, we couldn't really split too much, and best indicator of that was the odds at the start of the day, 5 to 6 apiece. That has slightly changed. Mike Warburton coming into this now at even money. Gavin Carlin 8 to 11. That's a reaction to what we've seen so far today. Gavin Carlin, you've just seen the league table, currently top of the table. 2-4-3 victories, so a lot of the legs column, and legs do come into play in this.
Game on!
We'll be hoping that if he does take defeat somewhere along the line, it's going to be a tight one. Tight ones are what we've seen all the way through. Not for Warburton in the last one, though. He did lose that last game 4-0 to Scotty Baker. And I think the alarming thing for Mike Warburton in that was he didn't even get a single dart at a double during that game.
It was comprehensive, wasn't it? When you don't get a dart at a double, that's when you know you've been pumped. Have you mentioned their previous meeting?
100.
I haven't, no.
Well, it was a while ago. Back in Q School 2021 at Milton Keynes, somewhere
96.
You're very familiar with during the lockdown when you were playing in the bubble, and Carlin won that one 6-2 with an 85.5.
140.
The one thing I remember about those bubbles was the bank account getting pumped because there weren't much choice for food, and you
Bit
had
of
to
Uber Eats.
43.
we couldn't order in, so we
Oh.
had to order from room service, and
Ooh, wow.
they made the most of that.
Yeah, I bet they did.
I think it was £25 for a burger, chips, and a Coke.
Wowzers. So you were doing about a bullseye a day then?
It wasn't the usual
59.
sort of cuisine I'm used to. Normally used to a much cheaper burger.
97.
Yeah, that must have broke your heart. I dropped a pound earlier and it hit you on the back of the head.
125.
Because I was on my way down to deal with the mouse. I was
85.
Not where you're stood on the
Market
chair.
requires 77.
that was a bit close to the
57.
treble for comfort.
Gavin, you require
Gavin's a long way back
150.
here, despite having the throw in this one. So completely been outscored in this opening leg. Here's this reset. Normally works for him.
Yep.
Very Rob Cross, Kevin Painter-esque.
83. Market required 20.
Worked again on that occasion, but double 10 for Warby for an early break. Needs a break to win the match. It's been a
10.
while since he's had a dart at a double, isn't it?
Gavin, you require 67.
Yeah, he didn't manage a dart at his double in the last game, the 4-0 defeat to Scott Baker. He's had 4 darts in this leg already.
He was 4 out of 7 in that 4-3 win over Gillet in match number 2 this evening.
There's a bit of a miscount here, I think. He's gone treble 19. He's gone for the double 8. He actually wants 10.
Yeah.
I think he would have. I think he thought he wanted treble 17 for double 8. He's gone 19.
And of course, the referee isn't allowed to say anything.
You just know these sort of things go.
57.
Like Warburton thought the same. You could see him nodding along.
Market require 10.
Yeah, had that feel about it, didn't it? So he's up at double 5. Can you show him where it is?
Game shown the
Sure
first
can.
leg. Mike
Long leg
Warburton.
in the end, but more importantly for Warby, it's his first leg on the board since match number 2.
Second leg, it's Mike
And
to
the
throw
bonus,
first.
it's a break.
Game on.
I think Gavin forgot that actually. He was approaching the board there.
It's one of those things that when you make a bit of an error, you make another one and another one, your mind begins to scramble a bit.
Just like another Welshman, drops the dart. Then probably comes back and
139.
finds the target.
Yeah, Gezi Price in that. The handover from the loading hand to the throwing hand is
96.
quite quick and it's quite soft. He had better hands as a rugby player, let's put it that way.
$95.
Said when you was on your way down that Carlin, yes, he's got the 4 points, but they've both been 4-3. And if he takes a heavy defeat, blows everything up once again, and we go back to
97.
the start of the show where we go, what on earth's going to happen here?
Yep. Yeah, with those 2 wins, of course, he's only on 4 points plus 2.
85.
You know, it can change around at the moment. Gav's top. Warby is down in 4th position. If he wins here 4-1, they effectively
86.
Warby will go top. He'll go into 4 points with no leg difference, whilst Gavin would end up on 4 points minus 1.
100.
We have had a trend of 4-0s. We had that run of 3-4-3s, so we can have a run of 3-4-0s. It kind of goes that way. And one thing that does stand out, there's only been one match where the player who had the throw hasn't won, and that was Culleton against Carlin, who edged it 4-3 in match number 3. Otherwise, it's Carlin, Warby, Baker, and Gillet all winning
77.
with the darts.
Gavin, you require 100.
Which makes a lot more sense
Well,
than what
because
we've...
Group A was all over the place, wasn't it?
I think that one, we had 18 games where only 5 holds a throw happened. Would be to get the throw back.
75.
Well, there was players that were
Might
more likely
require
to,
5.
to win against the throw than they were on throw. It was bizarre. The 2-zip.
Game show on the second leg.
He
Mike
knows how
Warburton.
important that one was, Matt.
Big dart and a big clench of the fist.
So it's Gavin to
from
throw
Mike Warburton.
first.
Confirms
Game
his
on.
break of throw. Gets himself halfway there. One of the players actually was more likely to break the throw than hold the throw was Scott Baker. He was losing more
135.
with the darts than he was against the darts. And he's actually got the darts in the next game against Mike Gillet, which becoming a bit of a interesting tie because they both won one, lost one.
83.
Mike Gillet, 4 180s, 2 in each one so far. So you are watching along with your red pens. You're going to need it in the next one, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
59.
And it's a tough run of games. I was mentioning it to Henry or Niall Culleton up against Warby and Baker. Not what you need when you're,
85.
when you're a little bit undercooked.
Yeah, when you're hunting for something, you'll be the hunted because
140.
practice rooms and players will smell the slightest bit of weakness.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
He used to stand at the screens when the Pro Tour draws was coming out, and if someone walked in with a bit of a limp, you instantly had a
100.
target on you. Oh, I want him today.
167.
It's like a wounded gazelle. The plains, the lions will sniff the weak out.
77.
Improved leg here from Gavin.
Yeah, massively.
60. Gavin, you
Little
require
argument there
90.
to switch the 18s with the second dart. Rather than just chasing on the 20s, he forced you to hit the treble. Obviously, the single would give you a dart at the ball if you wanted to take that route, or you got the treble, you could
50.
try and set up a bit handy. Take your pick.
Yep. As it is, Carlin with the throw. Tops after 15. And at the moment, with the averages in the 80s, it'll be
59.
more than enough.
Gavin, you require 40.
Warby unable to find another gear this evening. Did have that 93 in his opening match of the night, a 4-3 win over Gillet, but only 78 in that 4-0
30.
defeat to Baker. And he's
Mike, you require
Aussie here, Matt,
114.
in the 70s again, 78.62.
This would hurt. Well, instead, it's hit Mike Warburton. You heard him scream out, "Oh no!"
74.
That big 9 means he
Gavin,
does
you
not have a
require
shot
10.
and gives Gavin Carlin a chance to hold his throw.
Yeah, great
Game show the
opportunity
third
to
leg.
get one dart
Gavin
at tops
Carlin.
for 3-0. As it is, Carlin holds in 19. I mean, it's
Fourth leg, it's
a
Mike to
78
throw
average isn't,
first.
isn't
Game on.
really horrible. I mean, it's 26 per dart. And if you think it's awful, just get one of those computer apps where you can play against the varying
180.
levels and have half a dozen legs and let us know where you are in terms of averages.
180.
The biggest thing that happened there, and all the words we've said, I think the biggest summarise of what just happened was the "oh no" that
Yeah.
came from Warburton.
Oh no.
100.
Mine's usually, wow. How have you done that?
I'm a big fan of the really.
Merv
43.
King's really is just epic. When it became a meme, didn't it? Or whatever they're called. Really? That was against James Wade, wasn't it?
That's when he blew that big lead and James Wade.
9-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
James celebrated and Merv give him the really. Seen a few reallys from Merv over the years. I remember one against MVG. I think we were behind closed doors.
180. Mike,
What's
record
his
121.
second max of the leg. Treble 17. Oh, would have left the ball, and that for him is a long way off.
97.
Recovers.
Gavin, you require 98.
Treble 20, double 19 for an 11 darter and a level game.
Was 2-0 down in this one. And a chance to turn this completely around and level it up and get his throw back. Well, it's like watching
86.
Mike Warburton's faces.
He is animated, isn't he? He lets us know
24.
how he's feeling.
Game shot on the
Oh, you
fourth
could hear him.
leg. Mike
Was
Warburton.
oh no to a go on.
Did mention earlier, he's a bit of a
Figuring it's
character. and
Gavin to throw first.
I've got probably the most bizarre
Game
story
on.
I could ever share. And when you're tired, you end up with some very strange conversations and moments, don't you? When the tiredness and fatigue sort of coming in. And this was at the end of one of those bubble environments, and was all sort of sat outside and just getting
39.
ready for the flight back after Germany. We've got about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And we somehow ended up on a conversation where it was either me, David Evans, Aaron Beanie, Stephen Bunting, or Mike Warburton that
100.
needed to get in a bath of baked beans.
You sure this wasn't happening in Amsterdam?
It was
You'd accidentally
Another-
mistaken a doobie for a roll up.
41.
we actually ended up as well summarising an hour of crisp sandwiches and talking about like the best crisps to make a sandwich with, and we summarised that it was prawn cocktail with a slice of
85.
ham.
Bit of mayonnaise, or a bit of salad cream.
Crisp conversation could go all night, couldn't it?
Nothing wrong with it.
135.
A slice of cheese, some cheese and onion crisps, a good dollop of mayo, crunch them down. Had many a midnight feast with that back in the day.
Well, you were Chef Mason this afternoon. and
140.
Now back to the basics.
the weirdest sandwich I've seen
60.
is a pot noodle sandwich.
Not a fan of those. Not a fan of pot noodles. It's all I ate for 18 months.
100.
That was a fantastic last start there from Mike. Didn't look to see a way through. He sort of shimmied right, shimmied left,
Yep.
and then just hooked one over the top.
Well, he's a
85.
super talented player, Warby.
Mike, you're requiring 76.
Seeing the best of him tonight. He's doing enough here. 8 for a 4-1 win against table topping Gavin Carlin.
Game
And
shot.
then it
and the
goes
match.
back to back.
Mike Warburton.
15 dart legs for Mike Warburton, and match number 6 goes to the way of the man from Wrexham. The average is 85.99 in the process. There was 3 180s in the match and 4 out of 14 on the doubles. And it is Warby who inflicts the first defeat to Gavin Carlin. When we come back, Scott Baker against Mike Gillet.
Hello and welcome back to the live lounge here in Portsmouth for the MODUS Super Series, where we've just seen Mike Warburton get his second victory of the evening, a 4-1 success against Gavin Carlin, and in the process inflicting a first defeat of the evening upon Carlin. These are the match stats then, an average just underneath 86 for Warburton, 180 in the match, 4 for 14 on the doubles, and that high out there of 76. So Mike Warburton getting his second victory of the night. Let's see then what it does to the league table at this embryonic stage, it has to be said. But two leaders at the top, Mike Warburton, Gavin Carlin, both on 4 points. But the winner of this next match will also join that pair on 4. It really is becoming a really interesting Group B, isn't it, tonight and tomorrow here on Sporty Stuff TV. And we want you to be a part of the conversation as well this evening. Be a part of the Midnight Darts Club. Tweet us where you're watching us from. Send us a picture if you want. It is at MSS Darts on Twitter. Do keep them clean though, and please do keep them fun. Let's head to our next match then in the company of Matt and Chris.
Thank you very much, Henry. Yes, it's a big win for Warby, that. He's now, as I mentioned, gone from 5th position right to the top of the table. These two know each other a little bit, Matt. 2 meetings this year. Phase 1, week 2, final of Group 1. It was Baker getting the win 4-1 with a highly impressive 98.6 average, 50% on doubles, a high out of 156. And then Phase 1, week 2, the final, it was Gillet getting some revenge, winning 4-2 with an 88.64. But Scott Baker, I remember it well, Mr. Handful of doubles, just 2 from 13.
Game on.
8-11 before the off this evening, wasn't it, for Baker?
8-11 Gillet at even money, and that hasn't moved. And I'm a little bit surprised about that from what we've seen from Mike Gillet so far tonight. He did lose his opening game, but that was only 96-77. Then he beat Niall Culleton 4-0 in a 92-49. So that means he's running around about a 94 average for the night so far. 4 180s, split across those 2 games at 2 apiece. So
yeah, Baker averaging around about 91. They're not too dissimilar, but the doubling from Baker, 3 from 12, and then 4 from 9. Maybe right, and go with the
162.
bit of value as Baker knocks in the 162 to leave 144. That's changed the complexion of this leg. And you've got, in terms of the betting, you've got to look at the historic data on Mike Gillet and how his averages tend to climb over the course of an evening.
126.
That was very nearly 6 perfect darts. 5 of them in treble 18.
we need to be 3 perfect darts, which it won't be. And you say his averages tend to climb over the evening. He's already on a 94 average for the evening. If we're expecting that to go up,
84.
We could be...
Well, normally he tends to be one of the slower starters and he sort of eases himself in. Where tonight he's
14.
hit the stage.
Might require
running.
80.
This for a 15 darter or less. 20 for tops. This nice flat dart, you should go
60.
good sight at that. Somehow manages to
Scott, you
hit
require
the flight,
4.
despite the fact the flight is the
Well,
smallest flight
Game shown the first
in the
leg.
group.
One of the
Scott
smallest
Baker.
flights you've ever seen. A 16 darter, hold of throw for Baker.
Second leg is Mike to throw first.
More add this one 5 to 6 each of 2.
Game on.
You see already he's had an opportunity to break in the opening leg.
134.
You notice now the pace has picked up the tempo for Gillet.
100.
Does it every time. Should imagine he just gets more confident, more relaxed in the environment.
58.
cue. Throws 3 stinkers.
140.
Going to be one of those. I feel they're going to be fairly equal in the scoring department. It's going to be who makes the fewer
84.
mistakes and who can grab the opportunities. Gillet couldn't in the opening leg.
60.
Really is a thrower rather than an aimer, isn't he? Scott Baker. I don't particularly think Gillet's much of an aimer either. Doesn't
65.
look like he sights the dart.
41.
Opportunities.
Mike, you
That was
require
one there where
160.
Scott could have bought himself a better chance than this. That's a good dart. Sort of looked inviting just to
Yep.
sit on top of that.
100.
He's unlucky there
Scott, you
just
require
to
160.
get a ton out of that visit.
Scott Baker do it. He's going to get the dart.
Game
And he
shot
does.
The second leg.
Mike Gillet misses
Scott
the 160
Baker.
finish, and Scott Baker goes, I'll show you how to do it, pal. Steps up, pops in the 160.
Third leg, it's Scott to throw
We've
first.
seen a 160 this
Game
week,
on.
of course, but we've seen a 161 from Baker in Group A. Oh, look at this.
180.
6 perfect darts, the 160, and then pops in a 180. Very nearly produced 6 perfect darts in leg 1 with the 9 18s.
125.
3 treble 18s, and then went treble 18, treble 18, and just missed double 18. Well, get that up on your Twitter. 9 perfect darts for Baker. That's our second 9.
Just doesn't look like missing there, did he?
100.
Looked likely.
141.
He's 141 points away from a 9-dart leg. I think he got just as excited as I was getting there.
80 scored, yeah.
It'd be your,
130.
you saw a 9 earlier, but it'd be your first real one, wouldn't it?
Been a couple of 9s today, yeah. We saw the 3 treble 1s.
140.
11
Scott, you're
darter.
right, 11.
He's on if he can take out 11 points.
Game
He
shot
does,
the
and
third
that matches
leg.
his best leg of the
Scott
week.
Baker.
Hitting an 11 darter earlier in the week in Group A.
That was a fabulous series
Well,
of
it's Mike
visits
to throw
from
first.
Baker. The 160 checkout at the end of leg 2, and then back-to-back 180s in visits 1 and 2 in leg 3. And is he going to do a wall beat and put out a big win and put himself
100.
in contention for the top spot? Ooh, look at those, Matt.
107.36. Mike Gillet will be feeling a bit hard done by here. Nearly on the 100 average himself. He's only managed to get 1 dart out of double.
Oh, that's a
100.
very good scoring average, isn't it? It's a ton, which is pretty much his average.
59.
Good pace, good rhythm.
Suits both.
100.
Mike will be
81.
expecting more darts at a double in this leg now. Dominating the scoring phase on the front 9.
177.
A 177 to leave himself double 12 after 12. That is a response. And a very good
45.
response, that
Mike,
11
you require
darter from Scott
24.
Baker.
We've had a full repertoire, haven't we, so far? We've had a 162, a couple of 180s, a 177, an 11 darter.
Game shot
And
the
that's a
fourth leg.
14 dart hold.
Mike Gillet.
But is it just a consolation?
Fifth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
The averages swapped around there. It was a pretty poor leg from Baker. He was left stranded on, what was he on?
100.
275 when Mike Gillet took out the double 12.
Just got to refer your mind back to James Wade.
100.
He would call that a wasted leg or a wasted 180 in that situation, and
60.
then just tries to break the game up into little mini battles that he has
Yep.
to deal with.
I've actually spoke to him about that, and when they have the
54.
sessions where they have the little mini breaks after 5, he just tries to break it down into literally 5-leg sessions. Tries to win each
60.
session 3-2. Probably why he's a little bit more
80.
successful over that match play style format. I know he's won the Grand Prix, of course, but he is one of the best doubling hitters.
60.
In Grand Prix, you tend to find players that don't rely on as much rhythm can do quite well.
Like Peter Wright, which is he's my fancy for the Grand Prix. Don't forget that starts on Monday, 7 o'clock.
59.
Lovely darting day for darts fans. You can tune into the Super Series from 9:30 a.m. We'll take you through until mid-afternoon.
81.
Grab yourself a couple of crisp sandwiches and get stuck in to Sky Sports for the Grand Prix. Starts Monday, 7 p.m.
81.
Outside of the UK, I believe
Scott,
it's
you're
DAZN or the
140.
PDC.TV. Well, he's taken out a 160. You can add a 140 to that, but a ton will do.
81. Mike, you're 127.
They need a treble. Doesn't find it. He had 2 opportunities to do that.
59. Scott, you
Something we
require
expect Scott
59.
Baker to get here. 2 opportunities to wrap this game up. Not now.
What was that? 21 left.
21.
Double 10.
Game
Well, he
shot
went
and the
around the
match.
houses, but
Scott
ultimately
Baker.
it's Scott Baker who gets it done with a 21 dart hold. He takes a few points off the average. That matters not in the grand scheme of things. What matters for Baker is picking up 2 points and a 4-1 win. He goes on to 4 points and +6. When we come back, it's Wolby against Niall Culleton.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Scott Baker has sealed a 4-1 success against Mike Gillet in our latest encounter in Group B. Baker doing so with an 89.2 average, and the highlight has to be that incredible 160 finish in the second leg. Gillet only won one leg despite having an average of 93.85 and 33% checkout ratio. Another quality affair on this Thursday evening, a Tuxton drama here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Let's see then the current table and the current standings following the conclusion of that match. And as you can see, 3 players all locked on 4 points, but that could change following the conclusion of this one. Niall Culleton looking to get his first victory of the evening against Mike Warburton, who can go top of the table if he can secure a win in this latest matchup. Let's hand back to our commentary team. It's Matthew Edgar and first Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. Yeah, this is warming up nicely. And the table taking shape. 3 players on 4 points. Mike Gillet on 2. And this man here, Niall Culleton, 0 points so far. Needs to find a win from somewhere. And you never know. Warby's 1-2, 6-4 about Niall. Warby's form very up and down tonight, Matt.
He's averaging 85 overall for the evening, but it's more about how that came. He's had a low of 78 and a high of a 93 and an average in between there, and that's the concern here. The waviness of the performance.
It's Mike to throw
a good,
first.
a
Game
par,
on.
and a way below par.
We've had the good, the bad, the ugly.
We said throughout Group A
60.
and this morning as well that consistency is the key to winning in this. Does this look like a change of equipment here for Niall?
It certainly is. Completely different setup in terms of stem and barrel for sure. You never know with the flight, they just could be different colours, but
45.
definitely a different.
More concern, isn't it, that to make that change?
Yeah, they may well be the same stem, just a different colour, but definitely a barrel change.
The eye did draw to that last game where
60.
Scotty Baker 8-11 to get the victory over Niall Culleton, and the more the night goes on, the more appeal that seems to have.
121.
This is the last time we'll see Mike tonight. This will be his 4th match.
100.
1-2 of them, so if he can get a victory in this one, he'll be more than happy with 3 out of 4. Going into tomorrow on 6 points. That put him in a very strong position to get through to Saturday.
68.
Just taking a look on our YouTube channel, just trying to
45.
using a silver dart with a 1-piece stem and flight system.
80.
I think they're very similar darts, aren't they? They're most definitely a different coloured barrel.
But what that rings alarm bells to me is a lack of feel. And if you've not been playing as much, you lose that little bit of time in, that little bit of rhythm, you're going to feel different. It's going to not feel as comfortable. And
no, we rock 150.
It's like he's looking for that touch.
Yep.
We've gone for the Whitlock.
105. Mikey Rockwire, 108.
Maybe with a, may well be a similar barrel, but maybe a newer barrel, and he feels that, like you say, that little bit of grip, that extra feel is there.
Game shot in the first.
Well, the feel was there for Warby.
Mike Warburton.
Because that's a 108. And was that, Matt? Was that
Second leg is
21
Niall
dart
to throw
hold?
first.
21 dart holder throw.
With a ton plus finish.
100.
Thing is with Niall, he's just not got to fall into that trap of getting disillusioned and
125.
trying too hard. It is what it is. He's had a tough year.
41.
Darts are there or thereabouts, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
They're close starts. They're just,
It's,
like I said before, we just don't go in.
it's rusty play, isn't it?
But the rusty plays coming from
60.
what we spoke about earlier, losing that line, and the fives and the ones is the sign of the rust, and he's sort of there or thereabouts, and he's just missing that little bit of
60.
like that. That's not a bad 60.
No, and what you find is when you're playing a lot, you almost feel like that treble 20 is on the end of your throw, isn't it? When you've not been playing, you tend to search for it. You're hunting.
60.
And of course, the harder you try, the harder it gets. It's probably annoying for him. He's out in the practice
60.
room. He's probably popping them in with regularity. You get on that stage, a few feet off the ground, under the lights, and it's a different proposition.
60.
Under the microscope as well, because this is
Yes.
zoomed in, and you can say these are tightly packed 60s.
Well, again, that's well, both of them. Look, perfect
60.
example. Yep, and you can see the frustration is evident now in the body language of Niall Culleton. And all the boys playing him they'll be fully aware of what the proposition was
135.
playing against the version they'd have played against in Niall Culleton in 2021.
40. Mikey requires 61.
Mike Warburton is 61 points away from a break of throw, halfway to victory. He's in 44. 12 double 16 is the most likely route.
29. Now we require
barring
140.
An unexpected big finish. Warby will be back with 3 in hand to break throw and make it 2-0. And again, weight of dart he got right that time,
82.
not the line.
Mikey require 32.
Held his throw in 21 darts.
Game shot on the
He
second
breaks in
leg.
19.
Mike Warburton.
After 40 darts thrown, Mike Warburton is halfway to victory. He's 2-0 up against Niall
So
Culleton.
look, it's Mike to throw first.
20 darts equates to a 25 per dart average, well, 25 at 05. 40 darts thrown, an average
95.
of 75.15 for Warby.
$41.
I think alarm bells are starting to ring now if you're in the Niall Culleton camp.
Yeah. But we have seen players
100.
bounce back from a bad opening night to snatch one of those third and final spots in this Group B. But not necessarily in a group as strong as this one.
81.
I think my concern as well for Niall at the moment is he's gradually going backwards. He opened up okay. It was a 4-3 defeat to Gavin Carlin. Round about an 85 average.
98.
And he was just inside the 82 average, but 4-0 pumping from Mike Gillet, and now he's down in the 60s.
60.
Yep. What you say is going in the wrong direction.
This was coming the other way. If he started like this and
Progressively got better and improved and
56.
grew in confidence.
this will Make him feel a lot better. Or will it? It's almost the look of where was you
Yeah.
since 10 o'clock.
Yeah, where has that been? Oof, you'd have fancied that. That was perfect. High and in the middle.
96. Niall, you require 139.
Not a lot of options with a 139.
Oh,
But you do need 2 trebles.
he opted to start on the treble, and I don't blame him after it in a 180. You think that's the most
47.
likely target you're going to hit.
Mike, you require 56.
This is for 3-0. Tops for a 17. This for an 18.
36. Niall,
for
you
a leg.
require 92.
92 points. Do you go aggressive or is he going on the ball?
Yep, he's
Starts on
gone
the
ball. That leaves 84. Well, the treble 20 would have left 24, of course. But
44.
another bite
Mike,
at
you
the
require
cherry.
20.
The 3-0 for Warby.
Again, it's a 7th visit to the board. We need more.
No score.
Does need more. Might not get more.
Niall, you require 48.
We're going to see Niall throw a dart at a double for the first time in this match. It's going to be at tops.
Game shot
That's
on
the
the
only chance
third
he
leg.
needs.
Niall
Might not be getting
Culleton.
it going in the scoring phase at the moment, but there's a warning sign for Warburton. Give him a shot, and he will punish you.
4th leg, it's Niall to throw first.
Did Warby have there 6 darts at a double for 3-0?
Game on.
5.
All right.
And all of a sudden,
140.
saw this with Gavin Carlin in Group A. Give a player an opportunity, they'll take it. Keep them in a game and they could change it. Michael,
41.
want to get this one wrapped up quick before he's got to try and weather the storm.
He's only started with a 41, and well, all of a sudden has
100.
come alive and another change of equipment. How many sets? He's doing a Peter Wright. How many sets has he taken up there?
140.
Well, I'm thinking this is back to. Yeah, this is the original setup he started the evening with.
125.
He definitely prefers those.
He will do now. 136 after 9. Average is slowly climbing now.
99. Oh, we were
Down into the 60s,
136.
and he's up into the late 70s.
58.
Good scoring phase this from Niall.
60.
Yeah,
No, we require
140 ton and a
78.
125 down to 161. After 12, tops for 15.
58. Mike, you require 161.
This would be a game changer. It won't be. Niall Culleton will come back. 20 points away
65.
from a level game.
Niall, you require 20.
Setting us up in a situation of a best of 3.
Game shot on the 4th leg. Niall Culleton.
He makes it back-to-back legs, Matt.
5th leg, it's Mike to throw
That was a
first. Game on.
17 darter. That's the best leg of the match so far. Into leg 5 we go.
By the way the game's
60.
gone so far, that is 6 visits. 6 visits is enough that he should get a chance, if he repeats that level of performance, to get the break somewhere. With 2
81.
opportunities.
Well, if in the scoring phase he can average around 80, will get those opportunities, won't he? 2 more games to bring you after this one. A real big one coming up next for Mike Gillet and Gavin Carlin. An equally as big match, irrelevant of the result here.
22.
Our final match of the session, Niall Culleton against Scott Baker.
This game is
100.
there for anyone who can find 9 to 12 darts. That's all it's going to take from here.
55.
A minute and a half to 2 minutes of inspired darts. We'll see you through and give you 2 points. That'll be huge for Mike Warburton in his qualification hopes. He's already got 4 on the board. Be huge for Niall Culleton in giving him hope that he's not just coming for a day of practice tomorrow.
Well, if Warby can pick up a win here, he's pretty much 3/4 of the way there, isn't he? Got a foot
95.
in Saturday night's final. Lucas Vennick already there. Josh Payne with a foot in the final as well after winning 4 out of 5 today. He's back tomorrow morning, as we will be. 9:30 a.m. and we kick off with Steve Haggerty against Thibaut Tricol.
60. Michael require 46.
Both players right in the mix.
Good group. That's been a good week, really. All the groups very evenly matched.
14.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. The guy who puts all this together has to try and keep it balanced.
85. Mike require 32.
It's a job in itself.
Game show on the 5th leg.
Well, I hope that's
Mike
not my
Warburton.
eyes. Or if you've been putting something in my water.
So it's Niall to throw first.
Again, you were
Game
spot
on.
Matt, regarding those 7th visit. That was a 19-dart hold. It puts Warby 1 away.
It gave him the opportunity
43.
to do it in 6. He was actually left way back on 103. Just very in and out, inconsistent, which is exactly what we'd have expected, and it's exactly why I said that everything we know about Niall, we've got to forget for this couple of day period.
Bang on the money. Different prospect when he comes back for phase 2 or series 2. And hopefully by then he's far more settled and got some match practice in. That's the priority coming into something like this is getting match practice. Hence why I played in that event last night, and I'm going to be out Tuesday with the boys, and then Thursday got league.
45. $100.
So nothing prepares you for getting on that stage. Like you say, you are under a microscope.
95.
The longer you go without picking up a win, the more the pressure builds. And that's where Niall Culleton is right now.
It's not gonna get
60.
any easier. We'll be back in just a game's time for his last game of the day, and that will be against Scott Baker. Scott Baker's been very impressive all week.
121.
Very impressive tonight.
Mike require 160.
160 we have seen from Scott Baker. That's a good lie.
Disappointed with that second dart.
No, we require
That
170.
was begging to be followed. But he will be back at 60 to wrap this one up. 4 legs to 2.
52.
Will be
Mike
for
requires
6
60.
points. In Only needs 60 points. Have to come round that one.
40.
Comes very low.
Niall requires 65.
Surprised he didn't move there. Give himself a clearer sight into the target. 48 left. 16 double 16 or 8 tops.
Game shot on the sick flag.
Wow.
Niall
And a
Culleton.
roar from Niall. Well, the situation hasn't affected his ambition, has it?
7th and final leg. It's Mike to throw
21 dart
first.
Hold.
Game on.
2 match darts at tops for Warby.
Going all the way again. Second time we've seen Mike Warburton go all the way.
140.
Went all the way earlier against Mike Gillet and won 4 legs to 3.
Yeah, despite Gillet averaging 96.77. And
100.
liking that one, he has the darts.
$60.
Quite unusually, his print on the dart in terms of grip right at the back of the barrel, isn't it?
41.
Warburton, I'm on about. We can take a look at that here. Just resets himself. Right at the back of the barrel. And that is why he's obviously had that grip pattern put into the back end of
45.
the dart.
A bit of a reference point, isn't it? So you don't always have to look at the dart in the hand. And
That's why I originally had that scallop put in there.
140.
Don't use it now, but did use it for a while. Just found that I started to over grip slightly. Maybe what I should have done
180.
is do what Warby's done here and just increase the level of grip in the area that my
100.
thumb and
Mike, you
forefinger
requires 76.
grip the dart. Well, this would be a lovely way to finish. Can he just slide down the side?
68.
No, so Niall Culleton,
Niall, we require
an unlikely looking
120.
win throughout this match. He's never led. Wow.
100.
there's a time to lead, it's right at the end.
Yeah.
Mike, you require 8.
When it really matters.
This to wrap it up.
Game shot
And
on
Mike
the
Warburton
match.
dips his bread.
Mike Warburton
Takes the victory, 4 legs to 3. And that rounds off a good day's work there for Mike Warburton. That's his 3rd victory of the day. Puts him on 6 points. Gives him a good opportunity now at qualifying through to to the final, from Group B. Niall Cullerton's chances are now on the ropes. We'll see him one more time this evening. That'll be in our last game against Scotty Baker.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Mike Warburton has made it 6 points from 8 here on the opening night of Group B, courtesy of a 4-3 victory against Niall Culleton. Those are the stats from that particular encounter, the highlight being a 108 for Warby in a tungsten testosterone clash, that is for sure. So 2 more games to take place this evening, but before we look ahead to our penultimate game of the session, let's have a quick check at where the league table lies, because as you can see, Mike Warburton 6 points at the top of the table. However, that could be matched in our final couple of games this evening. Scott Baker and Gavin Carlin both got the opportunity to make it on to 6 points overnight alongside the former World Masters semi-finalists. And we're going to see Gavin Carlin in action first. He takes on Mike Gillet. And let's hand straight back over to our commentary team for this one. 2 more matches to go on this marathon Thursday of darts. Matthew Edgar and Chris Mason are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed still.
Thank you, Henry. I don't know about bright-eyed and bushy-haired, maybe. This has been a super long session of darts. Well, a super long day of darts. We had a long one in Group C today, didn't we? We didn't get off to nearly 3 o'clock. Quick bite to eat, a bit of a nap, and back at it. Of course, we're back at it this morning in around about 8.5 hours' time. That's before this is finished and we've got back to our beds and got our nut down.
Okay, first thing, it's Mike to throw first.
It's the only struggle of the week, isn't it?
Game on.
Trying to operate on around about 5 or 6 hours sleep.
Just looked at the table there. Mike Gillet might find this a struggle if he does not win this game.
Well, yeah, for me, it's a must-win game for Gillet, and well, he's favourite for the match. He's
140.
8-11, even money, and that's pretty much where they were well before the off, isn't it?
60.
It's really harsh, really, that Mike Gillet's in this situation when we look at like Mike Warburton, who's running at the low 80s, and he's got 6 points on the board, and Gillet's had a 96, a 92 and a 93 average. He's running around about a 94.
46.
He's picked up 1 win.
And he's in the situation here because we look at the game forward, and I really do fancy Scott Baker to beat Niall Culleton in that last game,
60.
which would put him to 6 points. We've got Warburton on 6 points. And if Garland beats Gillet here, he goes to 6 points as well and keeps Gillet 4 points away and legs away from qualification.
Massive game.
58.
And it will have an effect on how he sleeps and approaches tomorrow night, of course. A win, and he will come back tomorrow fancying the job. 95 remaining. Treble 19's the shot.
177.
Treble 19 he gets, and not for the first time tonight. Gillet finding a fabulous 177 and timed to perfection.
60.
Like affect how he sleeps. He'll be another player that won't be getting much sleep, though. Being a school teacher, he won't be getting time off during the term time.
Exactly.
We'll be in class tomorrow.
22.
Maybe it'll be a day where they put a video on. That's what they used to do at our school.
On the old TV,
40.
they used to wheel into
Yeah,
the
that's it.
lunchbox.
16.
Massive, great big thing with a tiny screen.
Game shot on the first leg.
Oh,
Mike
that's a great
Gillet.
opening leg for Gillet. A 16 darter, and those averages you mentioned backed up there pretty
So
much with a
Gavin to
16
throw
darter,
first.
which is a 94
on.
average.
I think even if he comes away here after winning this game with 4 points, I think he's got a right to feel a little bit aggrieved. He's statistically the best player in the group.
140.
And he's in a situation here where he could be going back home tonight almost out.
Yeah. And certainly, even if he wins this, he'll be going home with
28.
maybe half the points that he thinks he maybe should have, because he was edged out by Warby 4-3, averaging nearly 97, 2 180s.
96.
And he had that 4-0 win over Niall Culleton with a 92.5.
84.
Against Baker, he averaged nearly 94 again and only got 3 darts and a double in the entire match.
58.
Baker winning that one with an 89.2.
He's one of these guys that's just so easygoing, isn't he? And
96.
he won't let it bother him, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's been able to sustain this level of performance despite not really getting the rub.
171.
He's averaged more than every one of his opponents in each of his 3 games. That was a splendid
25.
visit.
Gavin, you require 36.
Very much like the 177 from
Game shot on the second leg.
Mike Gillet in
Gavin
the previous
Carlin.
leg. Gavin Carlin finds a 171 to leave the double, and he pops
Third
it
against
in
Mike
for
to
a
throw
13
first.
dart hold.
Game on.
This is a high quality affair so far.
2 uncontested holds a throw.
Yeah. Yeah, when Mike
100.
Gillet went out, what was Gavin left on? He was well back, wasn't he?
80.
He was back on 223. And in the last leg, Mike Gillet was stranded on 268.
140.
Is it going to be a game of holds of throw? If that's the case, Gillet will get over the line, of course. All 3.
58.
It has been a roller coaster ride this evening in terms of results. Good luck to you if you've managed to pick out a
131.
Aces Acca would have gone down the pan fairly early.
99. Mike, you require 130.
This for a 3rd holder throw in a row. Doesn't need to go for this. Got 3 choices, I feel,
90.
here. Chooses to set himself up on tops after 12, and just like the first 2, this is looking like another uncontested holder throw.
125.
Even with that
Mike, you require
125, he's still
40.
way back on 139, so that wouldn't have applied any pressure. Double 10.
30. Gavin, you
Will expect
require
to return.
139.
Gavin needs to be perfect. He's 2 trebles and the double.
I like 57, ball double 16, maybe 57-42 with Gillet on 10.
Gillet's got choices to make. He can go straight for it, or he can try the split 2
Mike, you
double
require
4.
10.
Looks like he's going straight at it. Has to move, of course.
No score.
And tried to pick the corner out.
Gavin, you require
Drifted in to tops.
113.
A poor visit last time from Gavin has left him stranded on 113, now 112, which can't be done in 2.
$73.
Loves
Mike,
to
you require
step back
10.
and reset. Tends to work for Gavin. But Mike really needs to get over the line in this leg.
That is not a nice start.
5. Gavin, you require 40.
He's running out of chances.
Gavin didn't have a lot of luck in Group A.
Game shot on the 3rd leg.
He's
Gavin
certainly
Carlin.
getting a little bit of rub of the green, or a rub of the sisal in
4th leg, it's Gavin to
that
throw
one.
first. Game on.
most definitely a leg he shouldn't have won. 20 dart break of throw.
Time is ticking on Mike
60.
Gillet now, not just for this match, but in his hopes. His hopes will be severely reduced if he doesn't get the points in this one.
And it took him
81.
8 darts to convert that 139 when we were discussing his route. He scored 26.73.
140.
Tops with his second dart.
Mike loses this, he'll be detached from the group potentially by 4
40.
points.
Yep.
That, when you only think there's 8 points to play for.
And the leg difference, of course, he's on 2 with no leg difference, which if he loses this
101.
one, will remain on 2, but then go into the minus column of legs.
140.
Good response, but damage has already been done.
125.
It's a 140 again, really.
100.
Not enough.
Gavin, you require 75.
This to put himself a leg away from the match. Was just about to say.
35.
He's been a
Mike,
bit
you require
sloppy on those big
140.
numbers.
All week.
Mike a long way back. A lot closer now. 80. He can stay there.
Tops is a nice life for him because he does throw a stacking style dart, but went for the tops.
120. Gavin, you require 40. Game shot on the fourth leg.
No mistake at
Gavin
all
Carlin.
from Gavin Carlin. That's 3 on the spin. That was a 17 dart hold. Mike Gillet's got it all to do.
It's
3
Mike
legs
to throw
remain.
first. Game
He
on.
has to win them all. He's going to be in a precarious position going into tomorrow night's final session of this Group B.
58. $134.
Sort of coming to now or never territory for Mike Gillet. 134 is asking all sorts of questions.
80.
Doesn't have too many answers at the moment. He's sort of lost the throw in the first exchange of darts.
Yep.
134.
Gavin Carlin's scoring has just managed to keep him under it. I mean, the changing point of this match was
140.
that third leg, Matt, wasn't it?
All those missed opportunities, and you miss your opportunities, your opponent won't.
63.
Good thinking. I like that.
Very. Yeah, I like that play. Needs another 2 trouble visit for me. There's 1.
100. Gavin, you require
Well, he's down to
170.
123, but I think Gavin may have 6. 2 trouble 19s leaves 36.
96. Michael require 123.
Going to start on the 19s. Treble 18. Gives him a dart at the ball.
87.
It's an ideal little miss.
Gavin, you
I think
require
Wayne Mardle called it
74.
Happy accident, that. 36. Well, 41 left. 9 for double 16. 1 for tops.
Game shot on the match.
And Gavin
Gavin
Carlin
Carlin.
finishes it off with the second best leg of the match, a 15 darter, a 4-1 win, putting Gillet in a world of trouble. One more to bring you. It is Culleton against Baker.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, where we have just seen victory for Gavin Carlin by 4 legs to 1 against Mike Gillet in our penultimate game of the evening session. He did so with an 85.57 average, 4 from 6 on the doubles, and a high out of 74. Let's have a look then at what that result does to our league standings as we head into our final game of the opening night's action. As you can see, Gavin Carlin joins Mike Warburton on 6 points in the table. Scott Baker can join the pair there if he can get victory in the final game of the evening against Niall Culleton, who is looking to finish off this session with a victory. Well, it has been a marathon Thursday here at the MODUS Super Series. Let's hope we round off the action in style. One more game for our brilliant commentary duo to describe. It's back to Matthew Edgar and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. And the £20 is in the post. Good man. Yeah, fascinating little tie this. After the course of the evening, we expected a little bit of movement in regards to the betting. Cullerton 11 to 10, Baker 4 to 6, and that was as it was before this session started, Matt.
Yeah, very, very minor move. Baker 8 to 11 before the off, and I think that's massive, massive value there in Baker on everything we've seen so far tonight. Niall Culleton's been on a slippery slope. He started the night with a 4-3 defeat.
First leg, it's Niall to
Gavin
throw
Carlin
first.
with an 84 and
Game on.
dropped to an 82 in his 4-0 defeat to Mike Gillet, and then down to a 75 against Mike Warburton. We've seen changes of darts. Well, we've seen
41.
2 different sets, but we've seen 3 switches.
Yeah. Baker, on the other hand, lost his opener with a 94.4.
99.
Then bounced back 4-0 with an 88.41. Then had an 89.2 and a 4-1 win over Gillet.
87.
So for me, I think Baker would be
32.
a much, much hotter favourite than the 4 to 6.
100.
I just can't find a way to
100.
justify that sort of price.
No, we were. When I just had a look, and we were expecting a massive shift.
95.
One person will be hoping Niall wins, other than Niall, will be Mike Gillet.
180.
Scott Baker wins, that'll move 3 players onto 6 points and detach Mike Gillet from the chasing pack by 4 points.
Yeah, win for any win
58.
for
Scott, you require 90.
Scott Baker, and he goes top overnight. 64 left, so you stay there. Oh, that's poor.
34. Niall, you require 120.
I say this is straight up the line, but the line's something he's not been good at keeping hold of. Straining those 5s and 1s.
It's been a long week for us. It's also been a long week for Baker, of course. He
66.
competed in that Group A.
Scott, you require 56. Game shot on the first
No
leg.
mistake from Baker.
Scott Baker.
Leg 1, break a throw, coming in 18. That set the tone for this match.
Second leg, it's Scott to throw first.
Sip of
Game
water.
on. 100.
Kicks off with a ton.
He needed to get a break, and he's got it in the opening leg.
100.
I said that the release hasn't been right for Niall, and you can see it with those last couple of darts. The treble 1, the 3. The dart that went
97.
over to the 12, the dart that dropped low, it's
All timing, isn't it?
all off. Go at 180, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's just the
65.
point of release time, isn't it? When that's slightly out, it, of course, not only affects the weight of throw, but also the direction.
140.
And either an early release will push the dart one way, a late will push the dart the other.
41.
And there's a perfect
Got your
example.
164. 100.
30 tons are enough.
More than 64. What most dart players like, 'cause you get to pick
100.
which
Got
way
your
you're going to go.
64.
Yeah, if you like the bottom left, you'll go 48. If you like tops, like a James Wade, he will go straight at the treble
32.
8. 24 leaves 40, of course. 32 leaves 32.
32
133.
here means 2
Scott, you require 32.
in the legs column and halfway to victory.
Game show on the
Niall
second
Gillet.
leg. Scott Baker.
And the practice room hoping for a Niall Culleton win here.
Might be handing out a few
So ladies and
detentions
gentlemen,
tomorrow.
to throw first. Game
I
on.
think he's going to need to find himself a Scott Baker voodoo doll from somewhere.
Forty.
A couple on the floor, but they've been not real bounce outs, have they? Not been a case of coming off the wire. Player who likes to switch.
80.
That's a similar thing. He's tried to get the dart in the same hole as the previous one, and there was no room at the end.
26.
Example of the line being lost. Going right, going left.
45.
Seeing a bit of fatigue from Baker. Been a long week. Will no doubt enjoy a nice lie-in tomorrow. Try and come in tomorrow night as fresh as possible.
125.
Will take you through and into Saturday night's final and for Saturday night.
60.
Sort of feel if he gets this win, goes on to 6 points. This will be the first fixture he'll play tomorrow. He'll also have the throw. And unless we see something drastic change from Niall Culleton, Scott Baker takes that win tomorrow. That will put him to 8. That's him pretty much
43.
into finals.
Yeah, it's very rarely 8 points won't get you in. 10 points is pretty much home and hose.
60.
But he's not finding the red bit here in leg 3.
It's that interview at the start of the day that just told us everything we needed to know about
87.
Niall.
Well,
But-
you had a good dig around, didn't you? You were looking across all the Irish sites and just trying to find some kind of
140.
form line guide apart from all the previous data we have, which, as you also mentioned, only takes us as back as February for Q School.
January.
January,
yeah.
sorry, yeah.
45.
Yeah, I put
Scott,
3
you require
stars on mine.
116.
Pad while I was listening to that, and it says house move ops, and then see where I am. That's where I should have got the red pen. Should have put that in red. See
42.
where I am.
Niall, you require
Yeah, that's not a-
135.
Not a good sign. But fair play to him. He could have said no, and if you've got that competitive nature, you want to play. 20. Oh dear.
No score.
Well, that's
Scott, you
135,
require
and
74.
unfortunately, you've got to go out on a double.
66.
That'd be known as master out.
Niall, you require 135.
No master out at the Super Series.
Master Chef.
87. Scott, you require 8.
You masterminds.
Game shot on the third leg. Scott Baker.
It's not particularly pretty, but effective enough for Baker. It's the double breaker throw and a real chance to win 4-0.
Fourth leg, it's Scott to throw
I
first.
agree with you. A 4-0 win
Game on.
puts him on 6 points and plus 10. That for me would be more than enough to, like I say, he's got a foot in Saturday night's
100.
final.
We did say it looked a very, very big price. Said it sort of 3 games ago.
Mm.
You'd see this on the
41.
horizon as a opportunity for people who are playing to end the day on a high.
Yeah.
28.
This has been a subpar performance from Baker so far. It's still been good enough to give him a 3-0 lead.
More alarming is
140.
not a dart at a double for Niall.
No.
So despite the real drop-off in performance, it's still more than enough to have 100%
100.
control of this dart match.
Yeah, he's not threatened at any point in the match, has he?
15.
So the throw is getting softer.
Yeah. Getting weaker.
85. 19.
Don't think this has got too many more legs in this one.
100.
Nice ton, losing the 88 after 15. Niall all the way back on 286. 200 points behind.
100.
Make
Got
that
your
100.
88.
Looking to leave tops.
48.
Does so. The advantage of time. A 4-0.
41. Scott, you require 40.
Wants tops.
Game shot and the
And
match.
that's it. Game over.
Scott Baker.
Niall Culleton will probably be relieved to see his night end there. It's not worked for him tonight. He said he wants to see where he is. He won't be happy with what he sees at the end of the night. Sits bottom of the table with 0 points. Scott Baker moves on to 6. That's starting to wrap this group up a little bit early. Mike Gillet's going to need some points on the board nice and early tomorrow. But it's Scott Baker who takes the points here. He takes 2 points and he takes a healthy 4-leg advantage from that one.
Well, Matt, thank you very much indeed. The Marathon Thursday here, the MODUS Super Series has come to an end, and Chris Mason is with me up here on the balcony to review what we've seen tonight in Group B, and it feels as if Scott Baker's the player that's taken the ball by the horns in this group.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with that big 4-0 one in terms of leg difference. He is going to be, well, he is the overnight leader. Goes in tomorrow night session as favourite to qualify. He's got 1 foot in the finals, as has Josh Payne from Group C a little earlier. And yeah, a convincing enough performance. And the big thing there, look at the swing in leg difference. Well, it's a 20-leg swing between himself and bottom place Niall Culleton, but he's got a +8 advantage over second-placed Gavin Carlin, 9 over Warby, and 13 over Mike Gillet. But it is Mike Gillet still in with a shout. It looks like it's going to be a 3-horse race, and it wouldn't surprise me tomorrow to see Baker, Carlin and Warby join Lucas and Josh Payne in Saturday night's final. But what's up for debate is the second spot maybe in Group C.
Most definitely. Just quickly chatting about Gavin Carlin, I feel like that's probably the best we've seen him this week consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw signs of it. He has improved. You know, he was fairly open about his form, has been indifferent since having a tour card, and just looks a lot more confident. And so he should. He's thrown some really good stuff. He's taken out some good clutch finishes. Lost a few games maybe that he could have won over the course of the week, but he's well placed. And listen, just making finals night would be a big move in the right direction for Gavin.
As for Mike Gillet, work to do for him tomorrow if he's going to make his way through.
Yeah, it's hard to see how he's only ended up on 2 points. He's played some fabulous stuff. When you look at the stats and break down the averages, he's been the best player of the night. He's just lost some very unusual games. The timing of his opponent's scores and finishes have all gone against him, but he's far from out of it. We've seen people come from that position and turn it around on night, but it's a big ask, especially where does the defeats come for the top 3?
Well, we return tomorrow morning for Group C, a group that is topped by Josh Payne at the minute and looks in irresistible form at this present moment in time.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 today. Didn't play anywhere near his best, and we know he's got another gear. You look across all of our history, and his name keeps cropping up everywhere in terms of averages and high averages and record averages and big numbers. He's got levels to his game, and he's got a high ceiling, and he'll sleep well tonight, and he'll turn up tomorrow. And he's that kind of player that likes to bully and dominate, and I can see him doing that tomorrow in the group.
Talking about sleep, we best get some, shouldn't we?
Well, I think we're going to get about 5 hours. Matchsticks tomorrow.
Well, join us for another Marathon Friday here at the MODUS Super Series. We're going to be back from 9:30 tomorrow morning. Myself, Chris, Matt, and the whole of the team will be bringing you the conclusion of Group C. But from all of us here, thank you so much for watching. It is Baker who's on top of Group B.